ruler of the universe. Now, while this seems like a really impressive thing, we don't actually know if Boros rules other worlds, nor do we know if they've gone to other worlds.
Let me know if this one's
Most
good.
likely they have, but I don't know how many, as it's never said. What we do know is why he's on Earth and why he goes around world to world. He goes around world to world, including on Earth, because of a prophecy that was made 20 years ago. The prophecy was made on a planet that he went to conquer, and they made him leave the planet because he expected to find an opponent in 20 years who could give him a good fight that he would be happy with. He wants a good fight.
Sorry, he reads a little too slow.
He's actually so powerful that he is just bored in the universe. He wants something actually challenging to do, and this is why he is on Earth. Some more backstory we get on Boros is after he attacks Saitama.
Yeah, the mic should be better now.
He talks about how his home planet had some of the harshest climates he'd ever seen in the universe, and because of such, he's got the greatest recovery ability in the universe. In fact, in his species, which had the best in the universe, he was the best of the lot. The reason being is he had so much latent energy, he could easily speed up any healing process.
Okay.
This means he should be able to survive things better than that of characters such as Melzagard. And not just
See,
that.
Didn't I predict? I predicted it. I literally predicted it. I literally said he's gonna bring up Melzagard, and he's irrelevant because he's fodder. I mean, if you want to compare the two, go ahead. It's just I think that's kind of counterintuitive. Why would you compare Boros' regen even like relative to Melzagard? I know he's saying it's better, but like I wouldn't even compare the two at all. Like they're leagues apart. I would compare more to Garrow's regen.
You should be able to do it much faster than Melzagard.
Garo, whatever.
Energy, which, considering it's Boros, he has a lot of energy. Now let's talk about our first form of Boros, Armored Boros.
Oops. Oh.
Let's start off with some basic scaling to get Armored Boros higher than his generals. In fact, Armored Boros is way stronger than his generals.
Yes.
Unlike the anime, in the manga, Saitama defeats one of his generals, the telekinetic one, in front of Boros. In fact, he does so mocking him and throwing a stone through his head, splitting him in half, and Boros' reaction is splendid. They are nothing to you. The implication here is he's happy he meets someone who can one-shot his generals. This is really interesting for the implication that if he wants someone strong to fight him, then being stronger than his generals is one thing, but being able to one-shot the generals like they're nothing is a completely different thing. Now,
like I said, it's kind of irrelevant.
Boros actually gets caught lacking and punched by Saitama. He got caught lacking so bad that Saitama is not even drawn on the panel where he gets punched. This could be because Boros has the ability to sense people's energy, yet he couldn't sense the limit to that of Saitama's energy, so he probably underestimated him, or his idea of fighting Saitama would have been more along the lines of his released or later forms where he himself is much more powerful. Once again, if you remember my How Strong is Garo video, you'll remember that in that video we talked about what a one-shot difference is inside One Punch Man and for general power scaling, and we got a 10 times difference.
Do I even want to touch that video?
No, Armored Boros should be
Maybe after this we'll do that in the next live stream.
One-shot difference over that of his generals. But in case you're wondering why it's a 10 times difference, here's a reminder from that video. There is a thread on Versus Battle Key going over what they think a one-shot is. They think it's the difference between human level and street level, like a tier difference in attack potency. I agree with the idea that it should be a tier difference in attack potency. However, the tiers are not the same size and quite spread out. So instead of just saying a tier difference in attack potency, it'd probably be better to look at what is a tier difference over every single tier. If you do so, you can work out the mean and the 95% confidence interval. When I did this, I removed all the ones that showed outliers outside the 95% confidence interval, which gave a mean of 10, a lower bound of 7.8, and an upper bound of 12.1. We'll use the mean of 10, as this is also consistent with One Punch Man. In One Punch Man, as we remember, Deep Sea King is implied to be 10 times the average A-class hero, while in his dehydrated state. Deep Sea King fights 3 A-class heroes, Stinger, Lightning Max, and Snack, and his history against them sort of shows a one-shot difference. I say sort of because he one-shots 2 of them under circumstances and 2-shots Lightning Max. He one-shots Stinger while Stinger is weakened, and he one-shots Snack while Snack is against the hydrated version, which is much stronger. So in One Punch Man, it is likely to be slightly larger than a 10 times difference.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't make sense to the numbers he's giving, but okay. Whatever. None of this really matters.
The feat done by the sidekick on Boros' ship. He's able to throw rocks, as Murata stated, at sub-light speed.
Fine.
So let's calculate exactly what this is. Starting off with first how big the rocket is. We'll start with Saitama, measure his head size, then compare that to the rocket itself.
You better not make fun of
Next, we'll count
Saitama's
the number
head.
of rocks.
You better
If
chill
we do
out.
so, we get a total number of 15 rocks. We can use the average rock density to get the mass of one rock to be 2.7 kilograms, making all of them, all 15, over 40 kilograms. Next, we'll be using the sub-light speed statement and some extra context
What?
Murata has.
Did you just say these rocks are all 40 kilograms? Using what math? Let me see. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I thought he said each rock was 40 kilograms. I was
This
like,
extra
what?
context in question.
I say, my
is the
boy.
fact that
No, they're not.
these rocks, they're not limited by the
This is logic
Yeah,
right there.
this is
But no,
still
he's saying
sub-light.
combined.
Now, you can have the speed of light in air, where what happens is air will slow down the light as it gets in the way. If these are sub-light speed, but it's not limited by the air, it is likely faster than the speed of light in air, but slower than the speed of light at its full speed. This makes it around 99.97% the speed of light. Work out the kinetic energy to do that. We have these rocks moving so fast that they have a mountain-level amount of kinetic energy.
Sure.
Now, this next
I think
feat
that's
we're going to
completely
cover is an anime-only feat, and that is of the squid telekinetic seemingly making a black hole. Now, I don't believe this is actually a black hole, and neither does Murata. If we go back to that same interview we mentioned just a moment ago, he should have said that black hole seems too powerful.
All right, I'm getting a phone call. So I'm going to tap out for like just a second, guys. I'm sorry.
This character. However, the description we get in the anime is that he is pulling things down like a black hole in a way that light.
All right, I'm back, yo. I'm sorry about that.
His telekinetic bubble. So we can reverse engineer this to try and work out the energy of his pseudo black hole, or better, well, it should just be called a gravity well. Starting off using the Saitama head we used earlier for a perspective distance for where these monsters are, as the monsters were in fact the very edge of this gravitational effect. We can do that to find out the surface gravity of this gravity well, being extremely high at 512 trillion times the gravity of Earth. Then we can work out the volume of this effect, finding out how much is inside, and it's shown that it works on everything, not just organic beings, including like the rocks in the background. So we can get a total volume of nearly 3,000 cubic meters, a theoretical total mass of 8.2 million kilograms.
Wait a
We can
minute.
work out the max.
I'm like reading. Move this real fast. I'm like reading this. First of all, this is crazy. I feel like Murata be like he really thinks through all this shit he does. So when people say stuff like, "Oh, the gamma ray burst wasn't a real gamma ray burst," like stuff like that, it's like, bro really thinks through this shit half the time. I think that there's a limit to that though. Like this is basic, like, you know, basic physics, right? But then you have people who are like, okay, well, the void in space was light being pushed back. And I'm like, not only is that less logical, but if it was true, if Murata is explaining all of this, he would have said that in the chapter. You know what I mean? It's just like how he explained a gamma ray burst to us, like we were like kindergartners. If they pushed back the light, he would have also said that. Like, there's no reason for him not to. He seems to be very, very articulate and very detailed when it comes to his astrophysics when he does go that route.
Force of this ability, which we can then convert to tons just to show how massively strong this is. Now the max distance it will ever move will be inside the gravity effect, so it should be the radius. So times the radius by the force, we get the work done energy at country level. However, we can actually take this a step further. If we go back to the Murata interview we've been using all this time, it actually implies that Broken the psychic telekinetic that is on Boros' ship, might actually be more powerful than Tatsumaki, or at least more powerful than the Tatsumaki we see during Season 1. Obviously, on the Monster Association, we've got much more feats to show.
No, I don't agree. Brook Bliss, the One Punch Man verse. All right, stay still. Brook, you talking about Brook from One Piece? All right, so let's unpack that. Let's unpack that, man. Let us unpack that as a group. As a group effort, let's see if that's true. What's going on with my browser right now? There we go. The fuck? You got my browser glitching because you said that. Let's unpack that. First of all, I want to know what y'all think. Does Brook blitz the One Punch Man universe? I want to know what you guys think about that, and I'll even ask in my Discord. No, I don't even think anybody is active right now. I'm gonna access my server too. I don't watch One Piece, so I wouldn't know. So I'm gonna use the most reliable source on the internet. Y'all already know what it is. It's Versus Battle Wiki. Right, so let's see what they got to say. Relativistic fodder, okay? Okay? Relativistic fodder. Okay, so let's go look at somebody like, I don't know, like Flashy Flash. At least faster than light. At least Flash faster than light. All right. Your character gets FTL with some wank. This one gets FTL low ball. Stop it, man. Why you coming here talking that nonsense? Why did you even do that to yourself? Like, here. I'll even do you one better. Where's the calc? Where is it? Are you on AP? Oh, they don't have the calculator? Oh, they only have the one for these two. And this is the low ball calc too. So it's like, yeah, you know. Back to the video. I just had to just get that out the way.
She's far more powerful.
But yeah, about the Tatsumaki versus Jurgenshub thing, nah, I don't think so. I think I see. Its ability to control flying objects should be above Tatsumaki because he can eliminate the friction between rocks and air. That's it. The statement is blatant. I don't know how he interpreted it as that is stronger. When is Boo versus Garo? October. I'm not posting Boo versus Garo until YouTube reinstates me into the partner program. I am not posting that until then. I discussed it in my server and in like 2 live streams ago. So it'll be like mid-October. You know, I'm sorry about the wait for everybody that's waiting on that. But it's just, it has to be something I have to push back until then. I've been wanting to drop it. The video is literally like pretty much done. I just have to edit the video. The audio is recorded. It's already scripted. I just have to edit. But I'm not releasing that video until YouTube fixes this partner program shit because it's just... It's gonna sound a little petty, but it's not as beneficial to me to post it now as it would be later. I mean, in the meantime, I'm gonna be doing some more videos about Garo. I got y'all. I haven't forgotten. We could do Garo versus Frieza. You know, we skipped Frieza. Y'all know how that's gonna go. We all know how that one's gonna go though. But we could do that video. Maybe I'll do that. Actually, yeah, I might do something with that. Why don't we do like Garo? What if Garo was placed into Budokai tournaments or something? Like human Garo in like original Dragon Ball type shit. Somebody's gonna steal that video. I shouldn't have said that here. But yeah, this guy is kind of wanking already. He's taking it like out of context type shit.
Directly shown and scale Range higher. If you're wondering if Range should be stronger, we can also use the data book that says that Range is the strongest telekinetic in the universe.
Okay, that's crazy. That's crazy because I got something for you. I got something for y'all. I gotta stop doing this, man. Come on, man. I have nothing against this creator, by the way. I just want to point that out before I do this. Where is it? There is a guidebook statement. Yeah, it is. Found it. So, yet again, here's the issue with using these guidebooks. What does it say here? The most confident and strongest Esper ever. So it's like, you know, these guidebooks are very inconsistent. You shouldn't use them as your end all be all. In fact, I think there's an even crazier guidebook statement for Tatsumaki. I found it, guys. A supreme shake. Wait, well, I can't read, y'all. What the fuck? Okay, a supreme power that can shake the very earth and overturn the nature of all things in the universe. The divine super telekinesis, unavoidable counterattack. And this is during that same arc. This is during that same arc, guys. This is the same arc. Same guidebook. This is the same guidebook. It's all wank and hyperbole, okay? You have to look at this and say what makes sense in the series. Not, okay, they said it in the guidebook, so that's it. What makes sense in the series? So out of this statement, I think, yeah, the power that can shake the very earth is fair, considering, but to overturn the nature of all things in the universe, that's still yet to be seen. Maybe there is some link between God and Espers, where Tatsumaki will get some universal scaling. We're not there yet. Her tiny body contains a bottomless well of power. Does that mean Tatsumaki is boundless? Uh-oh. Like, divine realm? She's 4D? Like, surpasses human knowledge? She's omniscient? Like, dude, you can't do that, okay? You guys gotta stop taking the guidebook so seriously. Unparalleled attack power. She's stronger than Saitama. Like, what? She's literally stronger than Saitama. Like, let's be real here. Thoughts on Tatsumaki versus Platinum S. If she can tag him, she can kill him. I just doubt she can tag him. I think this would be one of those matches where you would have to argue if he could break her barriers. Tatsumaki's barriers are very inconsistent, so I literally do not know. Like, I would have to actually like look deeper into that to really tell you right now. I want to say it's like a 60-40 split. I'm 60% sure Tatsumaki could win, but I can't guarantee that. So I could also agree with you saying Platinum S will win. He probably would narratively. Like, if they wrote it into the story, he probably would have beat her, yeah. But off of feats alone, Tatsumaki's like AP is insane. Like, it's just nuts. Every time you think she's about to go down, she just got stronger. Like, I don't know what to really say about that. But speed wise, obviously Platinum S is just probably never gonna get tagged. But yeah, keep this in mind whenever you guys look at the guidebooks. I use them sparingly. I try to, at least. I'm sure somebody's gonna like find a clip of me using a guidebook and be like, oh, you did it here. You got me. But try to use them sparingly, because, you know, there's stuff like this that will make you look kind of not stupid, but it's just obvious when you're taking stuff out of, you know, out of proportion.
Shoot's strongest telekinetic in the universe statement.
This video is
start of season 2.
Bro, we're only 9 minutes in, and the live stream is like what, 30 minutes? I'm gonna be live for like 5 hours. Okay, I gotta stop pausing. We gotta get
more scaling we can do for the general scaling to the ship more than Tatsumaki's damage is what we can do.
Speeds will always come first.
About how when Saitama got on the ship, within just 4 minutes, he does some crazy things like beating one of the generals, and in that 4 minutes, destroys 23% of the ship. Now, this 23% of the ship was said directly to Boros when he showed up. So this is all he knows. He then hears this and says to one of his generals, like, just get the other 2 generals and deal with this person. In fact, he's disinterested in someone who can only destroy 23% of the ship in 4 minutes. His tone changes, however, when he hears that one of his generals is already dead. What this means is...
Okay, I get what you're saying. He's saying to Boros, Tatsumaki destroying his ship was like, whatever. Which is fair. I agree with that. Because, you know, casual Tatsumaki tossing back some shells probably is not going to intimidate Boros. Like, it shouldn't. I agree with that so far. And then I guess he's continuing to say, after one of the generals fell, that's when he got interested. But my thing is, do you guys think Tatsumaki couldn't beat any of these generals alone? Because I think she could. So while his argument makes sense, he's basically trying to argue Jürgen Schupp is stronger than Tatsumaki, which would upscale Boros. And it's up to you. I'm not even gonna touch this conversation of Tatsumaki versus Boros. I'm not touching it. But I see what he's trying to do, but it just doesn't make sense in this argument. I wouldn't even bring Tatsumaki up. I would focus more on Saitama, the ship, and the generals themselves. The generals being honestly just Gyurgen. The rest of them are kind of A-class, S-class fodder. One of them is literally feetless. So, like, the feetless one is the one that interested Boros, which is crazy to me. I guess, what is even the dude's name? Gloryverse? Is that his name? Gloryverse. What kind of name is that? Gloryverse got one shot by Saitama. Probably would have got one. He probably would have got finger flicked away by Tatsumaki. So it's not really a good feat. It's more of an anti-feat. Does that make sense? I'm thinking about something and I'm not really able to explain it, but I think y'all understand what I mean. It's like he's saying Tatsumaki is weaker than Gyurgen, and as such, Saitama is more impressive to Boros, which will make Boros stronger. But the reality is Tatsumaki outscales all the generals, so you could replace Saitama in this situation and he would still be impressed. It's just
easily
doesn't really matter.
Of the ship in 4 minutes, and in fact would expect that none of the generals would have died to you through this so quickly. This is again.
I think Tatsumaki overall just gets underestimated like crazy. I don't really understand why. Aside from Garo and Saitama, she has the best feats in the series. So I don't understand.
Faster and harder.
Oh, and Blast. I guess God.
What happened?
My stream get copyrighted for this?
Hey, aliens, take your shells back.
No, stop.
Now, one feat that happens both the anime and the manga, and stated directly, is the first volley on City A completely destroyed City A instantly. Like, boom, and it was gone.
City A, I think, is the biggest
City
city.
A is absolutely massive.
Yeah.
There's a world map of One Punch Man, and if you look on this world map, you'll find that City A is a large part. In fact, it's the largest city.
So I don't know how you guys feel, but I would probably compare the size of, like, this is the One Punch Man continent between a certain level. So honestly, it looks a lot like Australia if you really look at it. So you can say that, you know, it's like Australia. So each of these would be countries, right? Isn't that how that works? Australia's a continent. Yeah. I don't know why I feel like I'm like kindergartner brain right now. I'm like, is it a continent or a country? It's a continent, right? So each of these would be countries. Maybe this would be an island. It depends how you feel about that, but it doesn't matter. A city is way larger than all these, right? So that would make, you know, Boros ship what, large country. D city was counted to be, so if that is like 500 kilometers, you could fit like 3 Z cities in A city. And Z city is the city Tatsumaki twisted while, you know, weakened. So we all know Boros is going to outscale his ship. That's just logic, honestly, in both speed, should outscale in rough durability, and AP for obvious reasons. So as of right now, just based on looking at this, without taking anything else into account, this is armor. I'm talking about like armored Boros would be at least country level, large country. This is kind of dwarfing all this shit. Some people don't believe. They think that these are all actual just cities.
A city of this size, we get a multi-continental attack. This is the end of your path.
Okay, so let me take 2 steps back, because I forgot to mention one more thing. I said there was like a levels to it. So if you want to compare this to Australia just based on its size, it's like a country level feat. Me personally, and the way I go off things in my videos, if you guys have watched like how I scaled Tatsumaki, I think I scaled Genos as well. I've talked about Garo. Talked about a bunch of people. I usually go more so off the fact that these are probably between country to continent size, just because it takes up the majority of the planet. I think, did we get a view of Earth? Maybe he'll show it in the video, maybe not. It all really depends on your own perspective of the size of the One Punch Man planet, because when we see these cities, they are like dense as fuck, and they expand for a long time. So it depends on how you feel. this is fair for this to be a multi-continental feat. I don't know though. I'm more so leaning to continental. I'm probably being inconsistent with my own thoughts in my previous videos. It just depends. I don't think we're ever gonna get an answer on how big the One Punch Man Earth is. I don't think it really even matters. But I think between country to continental is a fair spot to put his ship. Multi-continental is a bit much though, boy.
Tatsumaki and any of Boros' generals should be able to scale to. As you know, we should know that
multi-continental
Tatsumaki
is fine.
Class, so she's definitely, even in season 1, stronger than
As of season, not season, as of recent
all three of
chapters.
Boros' generals will scale to this as well, from the scaling mentioned earlier. Armored Boros is happy to see one of them get one shot. A one-shot difference in One Punch Man is at least 10 times. Therefore, Armored Boros will be this amount of energy, which is still multi-continental. Now, if you remember, just a moment ago we talked about how one of his subordinates could throw rocks in near the speed of light. Now, Boros literally sees Saitama grab this and throw it faster than it originally intended, literally stating to Saitama very casually that anyone can throw him like that, and kills his subordinate. It's happened in front of Boros, and Boros is happy to see it. This would very much imply that Boros is able to move at this speed, or will be happy to combat someone at the speed of light.
That's just obvious.
Saying that Boros can move at the speed of light is too high. You should actually
Wait,
check out
versus Battle Wiki has A City smaller than Z City. I hope not. If you have like a link to that, I think chat will let you post it. See if you can post a link to that.
In which this calculation gets Saitama to 4.35 times the speed of light. Now, if you think that's the high end, so perhaps it's the low end you should scale to.
No, that's low end.
He assumes that the attacks are moving at 75% the speed of light, and as mentioned just a moment ago, it's more likely moving around 99% the speed of light. So even this calc is being a low end, and it is several times the speed of light. So saying Armored Boros is the speed of light is definitely a nice low end. Also,
Fine with that.
again, using information said just a moment ago.
If I recall correctly, Boros' movement alone was burning up his ship. This same ship can move, and this same ship pulled up on Earth so fast no one detected it, saw it, or reported it, and it attacked just as fast. Keep that in mind. So his ship, which is capable of intergalactic travel, for him to reach Earth in a decent amount of time has to at least be faster than light. And he's able to move so fast that it burns up the outside of his ship. This same ship can move through space without that same problem. So yeah, he would have to be somewhat faster than light. To what degree, I can't tell you off the top of my head. I'm not that smart. But I'm just adding to his logic. What he's saying right now makes sense. I just think people don't really think about that aspect. The same ship that can go through space without melting into pieces, Boros is so fast that his movement can burn it. Like he was burning through his own shit with his movements. That's anime only. Yeah, but he's combining the two so far he's combining the two, so I think it's fair to bring up both. And that's not armored Boros, by the way. Let me also establish that he did not have his armor on. This guy saying armored Boros is faster than light. I do not agree.
Calculating the effects of the anime gravity.
Light speed is fair. Sublight speed might be a
trillion
little
times
closer
that
to
of normal gravity. We can apply this to Boros.
The official One Punch Man verse page on Versus Battle Wiki. Click on location size. Go. They fucking dumb. What? This doesn't even make sense. What? Y'all reading this? Wait, okay. So Z City is 441 kilometers, which would require an large island level attack. Islands are smaller than countries, guys. Keep that in mind. (139.6 kilometers). Destroying City A is a small country level. Back to the video. I don't even know what to say about that.
He should be able
it's stupid.
You
fuck up that bad?
We know his height, 2.4 meters. Compare that to the average height of a man and the average weight
It
of
doesn't
a
even
man.
make.
We
I'm
can say
stuck
the
on
Boros
that. That doesn't even make logical sense. I'm actually in agreement of the country level feet. Like that's fine, but how do you say okay, Z City's bigger, but it was only island level, which I'm also fine with the outcome. But your numbers, how did you get there by saying that it's bigger than, like, what? I don't know. Maybe I gotta read the
It
calc,
should be around
but
200.
it still doesn't really make sense by just looking at the two and comparing the sides.
This means the force on Boros's body, should he fight a subordinate, is absolutely massive, so much that when converted to tons is 117.7
He lost me. What is he? What?
So saying armored Boros is the speed of light is definitely a nice lower.
Well, are we talking about this man's physical stature?
Also, once again, using information said just a moment ago, when we were calculating the effects of the enemy gravity effect, we found that it was 512 trillion times that of Earth's normal gravity. We can apply this to Boros and say that he should be able to move around on this, considering he's above his subordinates. Boros' weight is unknown, but we know his height at 2.4 meters.
Oh, okay.
Compare that to the average height of a man and the average weight of a man, we can then say that Boros' weight should be around 229.51 kilograms. This means the force on Boros' body, should he fight a subordinate, is absolutely massive, so much that when converted to tons is 117.7 trillion tons. For a quick summary for armored Boros, we say that his attack potency is multi-continental, his speed is the speed of light,
Sure, man.
117.7 trillion tons.
That might be
Just
a
for
little bit of
reference,
wank, but
multi-continental attack potency, as well as being fast and light, is the type of standard.
in fact, the black hole
armored
itself
Boros,
might be
and
wank,
that
but I
is
wasn't
very
really
cheap
paying
avoidance of
attention.
Adaptation, evolution, or any errors whatsoever.
I'm gonna let him have it because I wasn't paying attention. I
First thing we
can't.
need to
I'm
do
gonna let him have
to
that one.
release Boros is to look at where Saitama was right beforehand. Saitama is holding back at this point, and Boros
Saitama's always holding back.
So let's first talk about Saitama. As we mentioned earlier, Saitama was able to punch so fast that he didn't even appear on panel when he blitzed and punched Boros. We're going to lowball this, and how we're going to calculate it.
Why are we
Boros' speed
lowballing
of
it?
light, which we previously shown, armored Boros should be the speed of light. And then we're going to make it so Saitama's fast enough that he could move that distance between them faster than Boros could move a single meter. So we start off using the panel where we can actually see how far away they are from each other. Find out Saitama's height, Boros' height, the panel width. You get the angle and the distance for Saitama, 3.5 meters. The angle for Boros, and then the distance for Boros at 8.17 meters. The distance of the blitz, 4.62 meters, which means, if we're assuming that Boros didn't even move a single meter, which he didn't, that makes Saitama 4.62 times faster than Boros, which again, armored Boros should be the speed of light. So that makes Saitama 4.62 times the speed of light at this point in his
It's fine. That's congruent with the other calcs.
After this, when Boros starts fighting with Saitama, it starts off on panel where you see it. First thing we do see is when Saitama has disarmed Boros, literally. After this, though, with only one arm, they start fighting blow for blow consecutively for quite a while until Boros, with just one arm,
Is that blow for blow?
Saitama.
Do y'all see a fist here? I don't see a single fist. I see fist here. Get out the way. I don't see any fist here. It looks like what he's doing is just catching the punches so he doesn't mess up his clothes.
Blow for blow
You
consecutively.
can do headcanon too.
Until Boros, with
In
just
fact,
one arm,
I don't see him punching in any of these panels. He's blocking, 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 dodging. Stop making up stuff, man.
outspeeds Saitama. This should make Boros.
He does not outspeed Saitama. He outspeeds Saitama while he's holding back. Fix your wordage. He outspeeds Saitama while he's holding back.
2 times faster than the level of speed Saitama previously had, with the implication that he actually must have gotten faster as time trial out in between. How much? We don't know. So we get the previous amount of 4.62, and we times it by 2, we get an amount of 9.14 times the speed of light. Even though Boros is almost 10 times the speed of light, most likely is 10 times the speed of light,
Sure.
in just his release form, he's actually better known for his power rather than his speed. Like in right here, we see a massive blast over Boros' ship, which is comparable to the ship inside, and straight afterwards, a backfist so powerful it's able to split the remaining ashes
Yeah.
of that same blast.
Don't get me wrong, these are all impressive things.
First, we
It's
need to
not
find out exactly
to Saitama.
what Boros' ship is.
That's the thing. When you guys want
Now,
to talk
once-
about the impressiveness of a character, don't compare them to Saitama in the series. That's like if I'm trying to say how impressive Yamcha is, and I bring up how Goku can go Ultra Instinct. Instantly, everything I'm saying is irrelevant because he is nowhere near the level of Ultra Instinct. You are eclipsing your own argument and making yourself look smaller when you do that. It's like, okay, he hit Saitama. Okay. That's cool. A couple people have done that in the series, and it doesn't do anything. Oh, well, he split some clouds. Well, Saitama also does that on a larger scale later in the fight. It's like now that you pitted him against Saitama in terms of like scaling him, not even like, oh, well, okay, he's able to do this, this, and this feat, and it's this strong. You keep on bringing up the fact that, oh, he blitzed Saitama. Like, okay, well, now we're going to compare Saitama's speed in the following arcs when he's more serious, because this clearly isn't that scale, and it makes Boros look weaker as a result. Yeah, Tommy Samurai being 4 times the speed of light is completely fine. I would say it's more fair to put him around relativistic because actually it depends on the distance of the laser that he sliced. But him, Genos, and a handful of other S-Class are casually faster than light. If you want to lowball it, relativistic. Just because they were fighting, I think it was G3, and it's blatantly, like literally stated that it's using light beam lasers that are literal light during the fight. Like, yeah, I think Murata wanted to make sure we knew that it was actual light. He had an entire panel dedicated to telling us that it was a literal light. So nobody can really debunk that.
Scaling the size of Boros' ship, it will take a lot of images. Starting off with this one, where you see the difference between Saitama.
Well, no, it's actually pretty easy to scale the size of the ship. Just take it relative to the size of a city in which it destroyed, and subtract the distance that it doesn't cover.
Width of the corridor.
I know it sounds easier when I describe it, and I'm not going to be the one to do it, but
next we scale this corridor to the entire panel, for which this entire panel ends up 109 meters wide.
This is so redundant.
We then zoom out to the next image.
No, yeah, he could have done this a lot easier.
Much bigger. There's a point where the panel
You're better than me.
478 meters wide. Then we zoom out to the next image at 1,000.
Boros, your ship design sucks. What if I get lost? If I get lost in here, I'm gonna starve.
357.6 meters wide.
The ship's material looks like God's design. It does.
1,688.6 meters wide.
Bro, imagine doing this as like a maze.
Then we get to our final image, finally, where we'd say the width of this ship is 8,583.95 meters wide. However, I then realized I had actually made a mistake. You see, later on, when Meteorite Burst Boros punches Saitama, we have the exact same image, except for large portions of it now being vaporized, but it actually tells us the orientation of the image. So in fact, the actual line that would be the width of the ship is downwards, so the width of the ship would actually be 6,168.59 meters. Now we have to size of the ship, we can then compare it to find the energy of those two feats mentioned. Let's start off with the explosion. It stated that we are vaporizing the bone, and when we see this, we can see it's going through parts of the ship and is basically inside this white area of the large explosion.
Yep.
We can compare this to that of the width of the ship, as mentioned just a second ago, to find out its volume. We'll use the vaporization of humans down to the bone, as stated. Therefore, the energy we get is not as high as we expected, only idle level. For the next feat, we need to measure a little bit further out. After all, we are now involving the ash cloud, not just the explosion.
Yeah.
When we involve this ash cloud, we then need to find its mass within this volume. It's quite heavy, but not as big as we expect. It gets split in 2.8 seconds. This gives a speed of 2.2 thousand meters per second. With this, we can get its kinetic energy at large island level. Impressive, but not quite what we were expecting.
This is all fine so far.
Now, if we look at
Boros' photographic memory didn't have this shit for real. The fuck?
And look at the dimensions of the rest of the ship, such as its length.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is a better panel to use than doing all that probably.
We have 2 spikes obviously in the front, so obviously we have to double that volume, but when we add up everything together, we get its total volume, 795 billion cubic meters. However, we have to understand that the ship isn't solid, it's hollow. So we'll say it's 90% hollow, divided by 10, 79.5 billion cubic meters. And that'll be the volume for the ship. Don't worry about understanding this right now. We're going to go over why this is important.
Yeah, please do, because you're losing
Now, if we go back to using energy of Boros' bombardment, which is previously stated with multi-continental,
Continental best.
Saitama was easily doing more damage than this to the ship.
Yeah, that's fair.
In fact, it was stated he did 23% in 4 minutes. We can find out each second he was doing 0.0958% damage to the ship. So if we be a lowball here, be generous, we can say that that small percentage is equivalent to the ship's bombardment. It should be less, as we know the ship didn't take that much from Tatsumaki's stronger bombardment, but we're being generous here. We can say...
Okay. So, calcs are really cool because they take a bunch of information, or they don't take much, they take what little information we have and create something great out of it. He is losing not only me, but I'm sure everybody watching the stream right now. No, like I said, no offense to the guy. I understand what he's trying to do. He wants to make it inarguable using, calcs and math. But it gets to a point where your argument, it has so many different things hanging on to it that it's hard to like understand. So it's not that I can't debunk this because it's factual math. I can't debunk it because it's 10 layers to this. We were talking about the ship's size relative to the ash cloud, and now we're back to the bombardment relative to the ship's AP relative to Tatsumaki. Now I have to go back to why Tatsumaki scales above the ship, and then go back to why the ship is not continental, and then go back to why the ship's mass was probably measured improperly because you used a bunch of panels that don't show the full size of the ship nor the full scope, and it would have been better to use any panels that show the ship over City A, or just compare it to the size of City A versus the map. It's like it just becomes it's like debating, and this is no offense to anybody who might support this person, it's like debating Ben Shapiro. It's like somebody who just talks really fast and sounds really smart scares everybody away because they sound smart, like, oh shit, this person just listed all these statistics, like, what do I do now? It's like when you actually unpack the argument at hand, what does this have to do with what we're talking about? You've lost me. Maybe he'll reel us back in.
Maybe 100% of the ship would be this massive amount, high into multi-continental. We then use the physical volume of the ship we mentioned earlier, so that each cubic meter would have this amount of energy, which is within the mountain range.
Is he gonna try to argue that Boros damaging his ship is gonna be a multi-continental feat now? Is that where we're going? I think that's where we're going.
Because if we were using one of Boros' general, the Black Hole fleet, we'd actually be even higher than this. So each cubic centimeter.
Yeah, I think City A is like a large country at best.
Now, if we use this energy for each cubic meter of the ship and go back to the explosion Boros causes on the ship, which, if you actually compare it to the ship's volume, is actually 19.65% of the entire ship, would mean that the energy of his attack would still be a multi-continental, but it's much higher. It's kind of hard to see how it's much higher, but if you were to compare it to the likes of armored Boros, you would say that release Boros is 205.04 times stronger.
Alright, let me first of all, these subtitles are in my fucking way right now. Let's just do this. Yeah. Each cubic meter of the ship requires this amount of joules. I'm not even gonna try. Volume of the ship. Because he calculated the hollowness, I believe. Energy that the ship can displace as such as this is the energy that the ship can exert. Usually you'll equalize the AP with durability. I think it's Newton's third law or some shit. So he's saying since Boros is able to damage the ship that has these feats, he has to be 205 times stronger than his base self. But why? I thought his base self would be stronger than his ship already, making him multi-continental. Is he saying since he vaporized the ship, he is 205 times stronger than multi-continental? Just came in. What is the discussion about? We're debunking a Boros power scaling video. I don't know what your position is on how strong Boros is. I haven't even stated my position. I am in the belief that Boros lands between the I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna be generous to him. I'm gonna say Boros lands between planetary to star level. Star level if you take every statement into account and kind of ignore some other ones. Planet level if you go off of consistency of statements as well as future scaling for other characters. I think it's more consistent to give Boros planetary. Just because putting him at like multi-continental when you have people who are weaker than him or should be weaker than him at multi-continental during like the Monster Association arc, I don't think would make sense. So power creep puts him around like planetary, probably. Maybe large planetary if you want to be cool. Multi if you want to wank him because, you know, he's the dominator of the universe. And star level if you want to go off guidebooks and the name of his attack, of course, and some mistranslations. I'm going to assume this guy's going to get him the solar system. That's my assumption. My assumption is that by the end of this video, Boros will be solar system level, if not universal.
In fact, we can prove this 205 times multiplier is consistent.
Okay, prove it.
Saitama could one-shot the likes of armored Boros.
Yep.
Then, when he becomes released, Saitama powers up and one-shots Boros' armor. then Boros with one arm.
Saitama powers up? When does that happen? Did he like charge his ki? What led you to believe that Saitama powered up? I don't understand. I just realized I had the music playing. My fault. Turn it down. What led him to believe that Saitama like got stronger? Like, I don't think Saitama powers up. First of all, you can say he used more energy, but you don't have a way of proving that. Is your way of proving it the fact that the first punch broke the armor and the second one broke his arm? I could easily debunk that. The armor protected him, and without the armor, he had to take the hit directly, which broke his arm off. Is it? Yo, he's considered star level a lot, my friend. I promise you. This guy is not going to be the first guy to make Boros above star level. He's not. There's multiple people. The most popular one right now is Satori. I was hoping he would pop into the live stream. I left his Discord, I think. I might still be in it. Maybe I'll see if he's willing to. I can't debate today because I want to get through this video and I'm not going to be live for 5 hours. I haven't eaten shit today. I'm trying to eat. But if he wants to schedule a debate for next week, we can. I think he is a believer that Boros is above star level too. In fact, I think he thinks Boros is stronger than Garo. Now I don't know about Cosmic Fear. I didn't watch the whole video because it hurt me a little bit. But yeah, I mean, hey, we're all entitled to our own opinions, right? This power scaling stuff is never going to be 100% right. But I do think you can tell when there might be a little bit of bias or some things that we're ignoring. For example, here, prove to me Saitama actually powered up. If you cannot prove that, GG.
Saitama with 2 arms. So in total, that's a 10 times a 10 times
Force
a 2.
Saitama to use 2 arms. Wait. Where? Oh, when he was blocking. So we got to keep in mind, Saitama's the guy who gets upset when his clothes get messed up. I think it's more consistent for me to argue within Saitama's character that he is blocking because of that reason, rather than he's blocking because he's afraid of taking damage. Because we have seen more consistently that he does not want to get his clothes fucked up. Right? Whereas in other cases, we've never seen him be damaged nor fear being damaged. It's always a cop-out, a bait and switch. So I think it's easier for me to argue that. He's just, because, both of them don't have proof. None of these have proof. He never says, oh, you're messing up my clothes. But I do think, since we've seen him multiple times leading up to this fight, worried about his clothing being damaged, it's more fair to say that. One already said that Boros and Monster Garo are relative, with Garo having close range combat advantage. Yes, he literally said that in an interview. Either him or Murata. One of the two. Doesn't matter. They're pretty much the same person at this point. People who say, oh, well, Murata said that, not one. They both contribute to the story. Stop it.
So that's a 10 times a 10 times a 2, which is a 200 times multiplier. However, Boros is even...
Wait, what? Oh, okay. 10 times 10 times 2. No, I don't agree. I'm not going to keep backtracking and talking about why Boros isn't as strong as he said. I've already gone over it multiple times.
So that's a 10 times a 10 times a 2, which is a 200.
He's scaling him to Saitama. It's never going to work. It doesn't work. If we had a finite number for how strong Saitama is, it would. We don't. We don't even know how much energy he's using here. And you can't prove it to me. The only thing you prove to me is that he one-shotted generals who are like multi-city level. That does not help anyone in this case. It's going to downplay Boros. It's going to downplay Saitama. He has no way of proving how much energy Saitama is using, but is assuming that he's using as much energy as required to destroy the ship, for example. Or more, just enough more energy than Tatsumaki. Or just enough more energy than Boros by 4 times or something, because he speed blitzed them by 4 times. It's too many assumptions going on here, and way too many numbers just being thrown around.
However, Boros is even stronger than that. Some of you might be asking,
even stronger than that. He's already 200 times stronger than multi-continental, which would make him like multi-planetary. How much stronger is he? All I know is Boros was ruling planets around the universe for decades, so I guess that's a thing. So the issue with that is it took him time to reach Earth. Under that assumption, it took him time to conquer those planets. Not even under that assumption. His ship only could destroy one city on Earth. And he sat back relaxing, which is probably what he did on the other planets too. Not to say that he couldn't do it himself, but to assume that like his power was the very reason. No. 20 years to reach Earth? I actually don't know. I don't know how long it took him to reach Earth. He might have said that in the manga. Let me go look. I will see. Let me see if I got that for you. It's really far back. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? The power of Boros. Nope, this is when he gets fucking killed. It's gonna be further back than that. Not yet. That was 20 years ago. It took time to reach this place. My minions thought the prophecy is just an excuse to lure us away temporarily. Yeah. Y'all want to see what I'm talking about? I'll bring it on screen. See, I don't think I'm making shit up. Well, guys, I think based on this statement, Boros might be uni. Nah, I don't think he scales to this. Not only because he has a team of generals who he considers capable, but because he has his ship, which from what we saw, does the heavy lifting. Boros doesn't usually get off his ship to do shit. Saitama, that's what happened to be that guy. The ship can't be light speed because that will only mean he was 20 light years away from Earth. It's possible. I mean, I don't see what's the issue with that.
Speed in the release form, like go from.
Unless you think he was further away or closer.
Speed. The answer is
if he had laid waste through the entire universe, you know, his ship would have to have been quite a far distance away if he believes he's done damage to the majority of the universe. That makes me curious, though. Could it be possible that Boros has like traveled to planets and like wiped them out that we'll never get to see? Like, you know what I mean? Like other civilizations and like stuff that could have been explored via the God Arc. Maybe we'll see that. Maybe we'll return. Maybe we'll go to other planets and they'll be like, yeah, this guy came through here and like killed everybody. And Saitama's like, some guy. What guy? And of course, they're going to describe him perfectly. And Saitama's going to be like, yep, never heard of him. And we're going to know it's Boros. That'd be interesting. That'd be kind of funny. And we go to other planets and they're just like, yeah, some guy came through and just bodied all of our neighboring planets as well. And like we're down to like our last 10 people.
No. The 2 times we hear about him talk about.
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible he took a damn detour. See if he was laying waste to the universe. I don't think he went in a straight line. You know what I mean? He didn't say, oh, the guy I'm looking for is on Earth. I don't think that's what the panel said, right? I think he just knew that there was somebody out there. I don't think it said Earth specifically. Oh, no, it is Earth specifically. On this far off planet, there's someone. Yeah, okay. It did say Earth specifically. So maybe he did take a straight line. I stand corrected. Maybe his ship is slower. Maybe he stopped at some planets to get some food. We don't even know if this dude eats. I mean, he's buff. He got to eat something.
His release form. He always talks about the difference being power or strength. Especially when his arm's broken, say his too powerful strength. Or when his arm gets knocked off, he says he's surprised that Saitama can keep up with his power. There is no actual statement implying that his speed had such a massive jump. Also, just to show this difference is consistent, that it's power only, here are some other translations stating exactly such. Even Saitama agrees.
Let's read the translations. The armor I used to seal all my powerful strength is now broken. You broke the armor and it holds my overwhelming power. You have withstood my unleashed power most admirably. Quite impressive you should last this long against my released power. Why does this one say, oh? This is Viz for sure. Yeah, like that Viz translation? Hey, okay, Viz. Why does Viz ruin everything?
Now, one other thing we can
Oh,
actually use for this
like,
sort of
no,
similar
it's
to the
okay.
explosion of Boros' release form that he does with his latent energy is that when Saitama later on does his moon jump, where he does a massive explosion on the moon, jumping really fast, he lands on the ship, he tilts the ship,
Yep.
and we can actually see the damage that he does to the ship. Now,
The
just from
ship
looking at it, you can
damn
tell
near
that the
it
damage
hits
to
the
ship
fucking
on the jump
ground.
is a lot less than the massive explosion that Boros did in his release form. In fact, we can actually see the small leftover
So let me I'm gonna let him finish.
of his release form explosion in the same scene, and it is still bigger. Now, when
So the issue with this that I'm having, he's saying because the explosions is like bigger. Do we even know if that's the exact same explosion? We'll presume it is. Yeah, I think the angling is fine, right? Yeah, roughly. Yeah, roughly. I think it was more so like right here, but whatever. Roughly in the same area. It's animated manga. I don't think he should keep comparing the two like this, like side by side. One or the other, buddy. Come on. But the thing is, this explosion did some surface level damage, right? Yeah. This jump reverberated through the entire ship and tilted it to the point where it hit the ground. The energy required to do this is stronger than a condensed explosion that did this. The kick pushed through the entire ship. The force seems to have gone through the entire ship and went to the weakest point and tilted it towards the ground. Does that make sense? Let me think of an analogy. I don't even know. It's like if you shoot some Jello with a bullet, you know what I mean? It's gonna damage the whole thing of gelatin. If you hit the gelatin with a hammer, visibly the damage is gonna look more impressive because the bullet pierces through, and that damage fucking bursts out. It reverberates. So this is like an entry wound. The entry wound is bigger here than it is here, but the damage it does to the actual ship is way more impressive. Boros damages the surface of his ship. This shit rockets through the entire ship and like tilts it.
In the same scene, and it is still bigger.
So I don't think Boros' attack was stronger than Saitama's moon landing. No.
Now, when calculating the energy of Saitama's
Because
moon jump,
here's what he's gonna do. He's gonna say, since Boros' damage was a lot bigger than Saitama's, that means the damage Saitama did to the moon is weaker than Boros' damage to his ship, which means he's gonna upscale Boros from the moon. Get ready.
Problem. The reason being that when he does his moon jump, we have
this shit sped up, by the way. Here's what it sounds like normal speed.
3 different rings. We have to calculate each one of these individually, then total it up.
Nah,
let's start off with.
Can't be here all day. I'm
the
hungry.
Scaling is shown here.
Maybe that's why I'm a little like extra irritable with these, because I'm a little hungry.
Mass and the gravitational potential energy, which was small country level. We then move on to the second ring, or the middle ring. This one is bigger because of how wide it is, but isn't as high. Overall, the energy using for this ring is large country level, much bigger than the first one. And for the final ring, it's the thinnest, but of course the widest one. This one has gravitational potential energy higher than all the other rings, but still large country level. Lastly, we have the spire that comes from the main portion of the moon jump. This is where when Saitama jumps up in the air, you can see that spire.
Why do I always think that there's easier ways to do these calcs and he takes the most roundabout way? Let me see. I know Versus Battle Wiki isn't the most trustable source, but I always do go to it directly because it's the easiest and the most universal. Yeah. So as I thought, there are easier ways to calculate this. I think what he does is he goes the route that will yield the highest end result. And I don't think you should implicit that bias, or you should implement that bias
of this
into your
spire compared to everything else is quite small, only at large island level. However, what we then do is we add up all of these results, and we find that the totality of all the energy in this moon jump, at least in the manga version, using gravitational potential energy, was large country level. Now let's do the anime version, because this one's actually even higher. In the anime, when the shockwave happens, it is far larger than the manga. There is multiple shockwaves, we'll be focusing on just the largest one. Starting off with this largest shockwave, we can measure its radius, thickness, height, and we can get the gravitational potential energy to be multi-continental, much higher than before. Now we can do the same thing with the spire. When we do the size of the spire, we'll find it's very similar to the other one, just a bit wider.
Yeah, everything differs between manga and anime. He keeps crossing the two together.
Add these both together, our total energy.
I'm okay with him doing them individually, like how he's doing right now. But he keeps saying, "Oh, well, here's Boros' ship on the anime," and then let me use a panel from the manga to compare the distance here. Like, no, they're different.
Mental. However, in the anime, we have a time frame, so we can actually do kinetic energy. Let's do that now. Now, one thing I realized when looking at the anime version of this feat, the time frame for the ring of the shockwave, as well as the time frame for the spire, are different. The time frame for the ring is really tiny, 0.3 seconds. The time frame for the spire is more reasonably longer at 2.5 seconds. This makes the speed for the
Yeah, this is bigger than Australia. This is like the size of like North America. Maybe like no, this is like the size of like Russia. Yeah. Yeah.
ring
Pretty fucking big. Pulse.
1.8 million meters per second, while the speed for the spire 200,000 meters per second. A very big difference.
He's gonna use whichever
Kinetic
one
energy
comes out
for the
higher.
ring is
The moon
absolutely
jump
gigantic,
is around like
while the
multi-continent.
kinetic energy for the spire is big, but not as impressive at the moon level. This gives a total kinetic energy that is planet level.
When it comes to fictional like planets, it's always gonna be we always will assume logic over anything. I'm gonna touch this in a second. I know y'all are looking at this nonsense planet level moon attack. I'm gonna touch that in a second. We are just gonna assume that the Earth is the size of our Earth. We do that for pretty much any series unless stated otherwise. That's gonna always be the assumption. Unless stated otherwise, you will apply normal astrophysics to a verse when you're doing power scaling. So, if for example, in One Punch Man, they're like, this is quite a large planet compared to the others, then you would be like, okay, compared to the others, that means compared to Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune. So it's probably bigger than those. That's when you would say the planet's bigger, you know what I mean, than normal Earth. But until something like that happens, it's just going to be normal Earth size. So the continents would just be different. They would still be continents though, unless for whatever reason in One Punch Man they're not called continents. You know what I mean? Like we apply some real world logic where it makes sense until proven otherwise. So this would just be one large continent, which is what I think has been stated officially. It's a supercontinent, kind of like Pangea type shit. Pangea being the original continent, on Earth. Now, let's talk about this. He said that this is a planet level feat, or rather, the energy required is planet level, which that's not bad. I mean, I guess if the energy he used to jump was condensed enough, where he used most of the force in that one spot to launch himself, and then the rest of it was dispelled onto the ship, I guess that's okay. I'm still in the camp of this is a multi-continental feat. So, do you have the manga panel on the backside of the moon in the Cosmic Garo versus Saitama fight? Man, I got all the panels. Look at that right now. Wait, it might be the next chapter. Yeah, no, this isn't a planetary feat. I'm sorry. I thought I forgot that he blew a hole in the back of the moon. Unless you want to argue God absorbed most of the damage, the moon would be gone. I'm sorry, the moon would literally be gone. Now, I guess he can argue the amount of energy required to jump from the moon to Earth is planet level, but I think that I could be wrong. That could be. I think that's different than arguing the actual damage done to the moon was planet level. But also, you have to realize some of that energy ended up landing onto the ship too. I don't know. It's hard for me to really calculate it. Yeah, it damaged like most of the moon here. That's why I said I would probably give it multi-continental, maybe even moon level. I think it'd be safe to give it moon level because you could argue that God's body being in here absorbed most of the damage. I think that's fair. I can't debunk him here. He's pulled a fast one on me. So I'm gonna let it slide. I just don't agree.
So overall, when we're talking about this moon jump and its attack frequency, we'd say in the manga it's large country level, in the anime its gravitational potential energy is multi-continental, and the anime's kinetic energy would be planet level.
Yeah.
Now the previous scaling was high into multi-continental, and with these 3 different ranges, we don't really have a consistent end for how strong it is.
I think this is your consistent end right here, bro.
Just keep in mind that Boros right now could be at the planet level, but so far just stick with the high multi-continental. Now, something even more impressive than this high multi-continental power that Boros has, 200 times stronger than armored Boros, is the fact that after making this blast, his back fist that hit Saitama was confirmed to damage Saitama.
I'm just so tired. I don't even want to like unpack this again. I have talked about this so many times. It's so tiring, guys. Like, it's actually tiring. Okay, let me just do this. Does anybody in here think that Saitama has taken damage in the series? Has Saitama bled from any attack in this series? I think the answer will be a resounding no. Now I know what you're thinking, but the narrator is telling us that he took damage. The narrator himself is saying it. Bro, the narrator is a bunch of trolls. You want to know why? You want to know how I know that? Look, oh my god, did he make Saitama bleed here? Oh no. And then we go to the next chapter. Saitama's chilling. No blood is on him. Nothing. They troll us every time, guys. We get trolled and you guys fall for it. Carnage Kabuto. Where is it? Where's the Carnage Kabuto fight? Where are you? I know you're down here. Nope. Way too far. Or not, way too far back. Oh, one more. No way. It can't be true. And another thing I never even really thought of. What if, you see how this text looks? Keep in mind how this text looks, guys. The same italicized manga sans ass print. When we go back here, same italicized sans ass print. Why do I bring that up? Have we ever taken into consideration that this could be what Boros is thinking? What is this just Boros' thought process? Because we do know he believes at this point that he has damaged Saitama. Same with Garo, same with Carnage Kabuto, same with every person that he's fought. They believe that they have damaged him to some degree. How do we know this isn't the same process? The font is a little different. No, it's not. Actually, the exact same. Which length is my point. I thought it was a little different. I was gonna say maybe I'm wrong, but no, it's the exact same font. So wait, right here, the narrator confirms Saitama took damage. This is bad. Oh no. This is the thinking font. So if we're gonna be funny about it, I can be funny about it too. And I can troll and say this is just Boros' thoughts. This is Boros' thinking. Boros just thinks that he damaged Saitama, which would be consistent with how Boros is acting throughout this process. We can go to the chapter right now. Like, keep going too far. That's too far again. Too bit. I keep forgetting how condensed the arcs are. That one definitely connected. It's obvious who's gonna win. That's it. I win. I won the debates. Debate over. I have confirmed it. You guys saw it here first live. This is just Boros's thoughts. It is followed by his own dialogue for multiple pages. And then Saitama is bored. Not a single scratch on him. Just shading and some steam. It's debunked. Clip it and send it to all of them. Every person that said that. This is just Boros's thoughts. Everything that follows is just him talking. And it's just continuously him stroking his own ego because he thinks he's the one that is damaged Saitama, when in reality, he is not. No. That is the last time I'm going to ever debunk this. This time, I brought something new to the table. So I'm very interested to see how they counter-argue that. Yeah, and even Boros says it wasn't a battle. Like, what? I've talked about that in my server. I said, why wouldn't Boros say, even though he was able to hurt him, he wasn't able to beat him or something? Like, you know what I mean? He gave himself no credit. He was like, yeah, you didn't even try. This was not even a fight. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little too excited. Let me chill out.
Almost 100 chapters later, and that was Cosmic Fear Mode Awakened Garu, confirmed to be able to scratch.
So about this, if you're in my server, I've gone over this too. So let me first preface this by saying Viz translations are very, 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 very hit or miss. Okay, guys? So I would say like 60% of the time, the Viz translations are okay. They're usable. The other 40%, they're literally god awful, and they need to run that shit by like 5 more people. However, when checking the official translations, which highballers, wankers, and even down players will turn towards whenever it benefits them, keep that in mind. Whenever it benefits people, they will use the official translations. And I'm no different because I'm going to do the same right now. Wait, right there, guys. I'm finding it. I got to scroll through a little bit. It's up here somewhere. There we go. I'm about to literally change your entire perspective. I screenshotted this from the official Viz translations. Oh, man. And I wouldn't have made a big deal about telling that kid, I wouldn't hurt you. If you buy the manga right now, I'm not even sure if it caught up yet. Manga might not have caught up yet officially. I might be wrong. But if you go and read the Viz, you want to pay that money to read the Viz one, go for it. This is the official translation. I did not modify this image. This is not the fan translation, which is being used on screen, and which honestly is typically the preferable version. But if we're going to pick and choose our translations, I mean, we can compare the two. I wouldn't have made a big deal telling that kid I wouldn't hurt you versus, and I wouldn't have made a big deal about telling that kid I wouldn't get scratched. We have to realize that on both sides of the fence, there could be bias. Where the Viz writers could be biased and fuck up translations, so can the fans translators. No offense to them. They bring us to chapters earlier than anyone else could. Mistakes can happen and bias can also happen on both sides. Now it's up to you to prove which one is the real translation. I have evil deeds to do. Stop, bro. We're not talking about the evil deeds to do. We're not talking about the evil deeds. We're going to pretend that didn't happen shortly after this panel right here that we're talking about. It's just Saitama bled in his dream about the subterraneans. If his nose was bleeding here like everybody's trying to argue, he would be hype. He would be excited. This is before anybody was killed by Garo. So there's no reason for him to be serious. You know what I mean? Like, if it was after, if you want to argue he took damage on like the moon, like Io, I would still think you're full of shit, but it would make more sense, right? Whereas he would be able to actually enjoy the fight, whether he wants to kill Garo or not. He doesn't care. So I don't know. I just don't believe Saitama has taken damage. And then if you want to make the argument that it's just a scratch, if okay, I want you guys to do something right now. We're gonna do this is like classroom type shit. All those people that just left school to come watch this live stream, we're gonna go back to school for 1 second. I want you to roll down your sleeve if you're wearing a long sleeve. If you're not, don't. I want you to take 4 fingers and just scratch your arm. Normally, scratch your arm. In fact, you can scratch your arm with as much force as you want. More than likely, you're not gonna break skin. What you'll have is you'll have those little ashy ass lines in your arm if you're tan skin like me. If not, your skin might be just a little red. Scratching doesn't always mean you've been damaged. You can scratch the surface of your skin right now and it won't mean anything. You can put as much force as you want, and more than likely, the worst you're gonna do is just make your skin red. If you hurt yourself in the process, that's on you. I'm not liable for that. Chill out. You don't gotta make the demonstration that serious. The point is, scratch has multiple connotations. The dust on Saitama, you could argue, is scratches. You can say all of this is scratches on him because it's a black and white drawing. So the same way I can scratch my skin and it appears as though I haven't hurt myself, how are you to tell that he's actually been damaged to that extent? Especially when we have 2 different translations here. I guess it just is up to you which one you want to believe. I put the original Japanese one through ChatGPT, and I can do that right now on stream to prove it, because I know it's always going to be that side of the argument that doesn't believe it. So we can run it through ChatGPT right now. Give me 1 second. Where the fuck did this picture download to? What the hell? It's in here. No, it's not. Where's my image at? Okay, I lost the image somehow. Give me 1 second to download it again. This time, let me save it to a location where I can find it. Or actually, just do this. Copy link, enter. And it should work through here. Once I get the text, I will bring back up the screen. We'll go to ChatGPT and see what ChatGPT has to say. ChatGPT, as of right now, has become the universal translator for chapters. Most people use it. So we'll be doing the same here. Text might be out of order. I hope so. Sometimes it does that. We're going through Neon above Cosmic Figaro. Actual facts, he can put a scratch on him. Like, what? Even if that is true, it doesn't connotate to anything. A scratch has no type of actual scaling to it. Where do you scale a scratch to? I will warn you, it's gonna translate very odd. I'll probably have to adjust the text to make sure it is proper. Let me see. I think it's in the wrong order. It's out of order. I don't know why it does that. I have to manually put it into the right order. I got y'all. This is the shit that I do to make sure my content is perfect. I think that's right? No, that's still wrong. This goes right. No, that is correct. That is actually correct. And then this goes right there. Right there. I'm going to try to translate it like this. And then I'll restructure it if it doesn't translate properly. I think that's right. There you go. It kind of translates to gibberish. Let me try to restructure it and get it to translate properly, or as properly as we can get it. The reason why it's struggling is because in the original image, let me see if I can get it right here. Maybe not. I'll pull it up. In the original image, there's a bunch of annotations right here. And I think the translator struggles with this. Whereas this, it'll translate perfectly. it doesn't really do very well right here. So let me see if I do this. What if I like backspace? I'm over experimenting on stream. I know y'all just want to watch the video. We might have a breakthrough in Boros scaling, guys. Just give me 1 second. Do this. That might work better. If not, I'm going to remove the annotations entirely and we'll see what it says. I just want to see if we can confirm or deconfirm. It's like, if you're reading this, the closest connotation you can get has nothing to do with Saitama. It sounds like he's referring to somebody else, even in the fucked up ass translation. What happens if we remove this? It's probably gonna be even worse. Y'all ready? It's about to be fucked up. Yeah, no matter how I translate this, even though, you know, it's a very rough translation, it never is in reference to himself. It's like it's, you know, even though I cut it, it's never saying even though I've been, or even though I was, you know what I mean? Even the rough translations don't point towards Saitama being the one that was damaged. So, I mean, I'm going to end it there with that. I am in the belief that Saitama has yet to be hurt.
Saitama. This would mean that feats the Cosmic Fear would awaken Garo, while Boros may not fully scale them.
Even if, like, I know the translations are very rough, but you guys get what I mean. Like, even reading through the lines with the rough translations, it doesn't even come close to I've been hurt. It just keeps referencing something else being hurt or having scars or scratches. It could still be wrong, but that plus the Viz thing is enough evidence for me to say that the Viz translation is probably more correct in that aspect.
The fact that he should be able to one-shot any monster form Garo, which
now he would have to prove that it's not.
Garo. We can imagine that release.
Whoa. Go back. What are you talking about?
To be able to scratch Saitama. This would mean that feats the Cosmic Fear would awaken Garo, while Boros may not fully scale them, he would be in the same realm of power. For example, his passive existence being able to wipe all life on Earth, as well as the fact that he should be able to one-shot any monster form Garo, which includes a planet-level monster form Garo.
Is he saying Boros can one-shot? Okay, so let's talk about that. He hasn't even touched. He's still on release Boros, guys. So, I want to. Can I do a poll? Do I have that ability? I think I can. We're gonna do a cool. We're gonna do something cool. We're gonna do a poll in chat. So, we're gonna do. What do y'all call it? That's gargoyle. That's gargoyle. That's like full power monster Garo. Be honest. Y'all don't have to agree with me. I know y'all won't. Yeah, y'all do your own thing, and I appreciate that. I like having a community that doesn't just repeat after me. I like having people with other opinions. Who do y'all think wins? Release the Boros or Gargoyle Garo? This is not meteoric burst, so there's no, you know, what's that shit called? CSRC. I'm in the camp that's gonna go with Garo. I'm sorry. How is Boros reasonably going to touch him? If you're going off AP feats, I can do a whole video on how Monster Garo is like planetary to multi-planetary. I could do that if I really wanted to. Good. I most certainly could. I just am not in the belief. I think if he said, you know, meteoric burst, I would be more like, okay, that makes sense. I could see that maybe if you can argue that Garo doesn't just blitz or reflect back his attack. But, you know.
We can imagine that release Boros is likely in this planet level tier of power.
That too, he's just gonna outgrow him in stats. So
if you also read the One Punch Man compass, we can get some surprising consistency.
Oh, here we go again, guys. All right. Boros is the leader of the Dark Matter, the pirate band that controls all of outer space. His species fought and won the battle for survival on his home world, a planet with the harshest environments, and they claim to possess the greatest regenerative powers. Who cares? Boros himself boasts abnormally superior physical attributes, even for his species. With the latent energy so powerful that he can blast away entire planets. That's fine. He comes to Earth searching for an opponent just as strong as he is. Okay.
Punishment Compass, it says that Boros' latent power, which should be referring to his release form, is able to blast away entire planets. So once again, we have release Boros at this planet level.
You don't know that. Did you miss how suppress? Yeah, he said suppress Boros was like multi-continental to planetary. I think. I'm not sure about the planetary, but I know he said he was multi-continental or stronger, which is already super contentious with the One Punch Man power scaling fan base. Because some people think he's just a surface wiper, which would make him multi-planetary in his strongest form. So, I mean, like I said, I'm kind of trying to sit on the fence and just finish the video. But I'm just saying, most people are not going to agree with that. And I certainly don't agree with release Boros being multi-planetary. I'm sorry.
On the power.
Narratively, if you want to go off of he's the dominator of the universe, if you want to go off just that narratively and just say it, just ignore feats for whatever reason, sure.
Now, I know some people won't like the fact I mentioned the front cover of one of the manga saying that Saitama took damage. They'll probably say that in the official release, this wasn't there. It was removed. And this is true, it was removed. But in the original Japanese, it was there. It did say he took damage. Furthermore, in the very moments afterwards, when Boros is talking about Saitama and the things that just happened, he mentions how his attack actually connected this time. Now, Boros was obviously hitting Saitama previously, so the difference here that he means by it connected is...
No. I'm standing up right now because, you know, I've been sitting down all day. I'm going to raise my mic up so y'all can hear me. So, the problem with this is that, no, not all of Boros' attacks actually connected. I think when he says this, it could be in reference to two different things. He could just be saying it to be that one really connected, as in that one really hurt, which would just be him stroking his own ego yet again. Or it's just because, you know, at the beginning, when this guy ignored this and literally lied to us and said that they were trading blows, when Saitama was literally just blocking, that's what he was referring to. As in, oh, you didn't block that one connected. So it could have three meanings. You could be 100% correct here. What's his name? Keemstar? What's his name? Christian Kimber. I'm gonna call you Chris. You could be 100% right here, Chris. However, there are also three other arguments that you fail to debunk unless you do it as soon as I unpause. Let's unpause the video.
He actually damaged Saitama. We go to the page afterwards.
You didn't debunk it.
When he's talking to Saitama about how his species has the best regenerative properties, he then goes on to say that, yeah, Saitama will only take damage over time. This wouldn't make sense if Boros...
How would Boros know that, though? Does Boros study his geography? Okay, so Boros knows the secret to Saitama's power, and we don't, guys. Because he knows Saitama's damage has to be stacked for him to actually feel it. And that'll make his strength fade away. What is this guy talking about? If he is to believe this, he has to invalidate everything that happened in the fight versus Garo. Here's the argument. Oh, whoa, he was stronger during that fight. Shut up, man. Nobody want to hear that bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm hungry. I'm a little cranky. And I'm just not in the mood to hear the same arguments thousands of times. But I promised the homie I would watch this video on stream and I would do a full reaction. Once again, no offense to Chris. So far, he's putting a lot of effort into this video. More than I could say I would do for a video like this. I'm not doing my own calcs unless I'm 2,000% comfortable. Because calcs are hard to do. So all the credit to him in that regard. You know, we need more people like this. Because calcs kind of run the community when they have these series that don't give us, you know, concise feats. On the other end, though, you need somebody that's going to tell you when you're wrong. That is what I am here to do. This is a blatant bias. You are being blatantly biased in this video. And I would be very, 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 you know, that's the wrong word. I would respect you a lot if you can admit that. If you can admit, hey, I'm gonna be real, I was very biased with this video. I would respect that because then it's like, okay, this was just a video you did to highball your favorite character. That is completely fine. I've done a similar video about Tatsumaki where I highballed her ass to planet level, but I made it very clear that this is highball. and this is my favorite character in the series. So there's a lot of wank going on here. And when I did my Saiyans versus the S-Class video, I stated at the very beginning, because I prefer One Punch Man over Dragon Ball. Cry about it. I stated at the beginning, this will use highball. It'll be reasonable, but it will be highball. So you can't sit this video in front of me 30 minutes in and tell me Boros knows the physiology of Saitama's limiter breaking power and has cracked the science behind how to hurt him when no one else has, and he still died without putting up a fight. Stop, man.
Saitama. And just to confirm this as well, if we look at other translations, they go as far to say not
care
damage,
about your
instead wounds,
translations,
which
man.
is even bigger damage than just any little scratches that we see in the manga panel.
There are no wounds. Show me them.
Now, one thing I should bring up is that a lot of people, when they are detracting from Boros damaging Saitama, they like to bring up this one scene later on in Season 2 where Saitama's talking to King and he talks about how he doesn't feel anything, or hasn't felt anything in a long while.
Debunk
However,
it.
this isn't actually true. If you were to read the very ending of the chapter beforehand, right before this, Saitama is complaining about in the martial art tournament where he had his hopes up, expecting the hero hunter to show up or see some martial artists that could be.
Okay. I'm about to crush everything he's about to say with the panel he put on screen. If Boros hurt Saitama, that means Saitama isn't the strongest, or rather, he is not at the peak of his strength. What's on the far left of my screen? I've become too strong. Because I'm so strong, no matter who I fight, I feel nothing. I can't even use her techniques as a reference from anything. There's nothing left for me to learn from anyone. I don't think that I can get any stronger than I am now. This guy is... I gotta be careful what I say. I'm trying not to, offend him personally. But it's just so frustrating. You debunked yourself on screen. Before you say anything else, you debunked yourself on screen. Why would someone who was damaged in the biggest fight he's had so far, according to you, my friend Chris, then go on to say, I'm too strong. There's nothing left for me. I've reached the pinnacle. That doesn't make sense. Make it make sense to me. I implore you, Chris, because I'm going to at you when I post this video. I want to debate you next week, Tuesday, 5 p.m. I'm doing a call out. I want to debate you live. My voice is cracking. See, that's how hungry I am. I'm starving right now. And on Wednesday next week, we're going to eat. Me and you, we're going to debate on live stream. It's going to be a very peaceful, very cordial debate. I will have everything structured for you. Hit me up by Sunday. This will be out probably tomorrow night in terms of a video, and I will have you at it. So this is pretty much a call out post. So if you don't say anything, I've essentially won. But I will implore you, watch the whole video, because if you bring up any points I've already debunked in a live stream debate, I'm just gonna kick you off the live stream. We can't waste my 10 viewers' time. Like, the 10 people that come here to watch my streams, they're here for the interesting stuff. So I'm just gonna say that right now for everybody in here. If y'all know this guy, if y'all have contacts with this guy, I'm gonna post this video tomorrow after the stream, and I'm gonna edit it down, make it more viewable. And I want to debate him. I want to debate him next week on Wednesday. Not Wednesday, Tuesday. Wednesday, I'm not gonna be on. But y'all see what I'm saying, though. Like, he literally debunked himself on screen.
Chapter beforehand, right before this, Saitama is complaining about in the martial art tournament.
He's not wrong about this next point.
The hero hunter to show up.
I think Saitama is not only saying he can't feel anything emotionally, like, the emotional impact of the battle, but he also is literally saying verbatim he is too strong to feel or learn anything.
And then he meets King, and he's expressing his disappointment of how he's unable to feel anything, which was something he just came to the conclusion of based on the previous encounters with the martial artists. When he then talks about how he doesn't feel anything, he mentions how he's so, depressed that he's unable to feel any real emotion. King then challenges him to a game, in which Saitama says, he won't feel anything. But then as soon as King mentions a handicap, Saitama clearly is proven wrong, as he starts getting emotional, he gets enraged. So clearly
Saitama, if he lost in any aspect or was offered a handicap or was treated in a way in which he was weak, he would show some type of emotion, right? So if Boros scratched him, it was hurting his pride the same way King is here by saying, you're done. All I got to do is hit you a few times. Why would he be bored if any of that shit was considered true? Saitama is offended here because King is right. He gonna get that in cheeks clapped in a video game, and King only has to use 2 fingers. Meanwhile, versus Boros, Boros is in a full belief that he's able to clap Saitama because he has these physical advantages and this and that. Saitama would express the same level of emotion. I know this is a gag right here, but you can't show me these things and then they counter other arguments you've already made.
Not actually talking about whether or not in the past he's ever taken damage against an opponent. Now, if you remember, previously we scaled the lifting strength of armored Boros based on him.
Yeah, it was like 4 trillion tons.
When we did so, we got a lifting strength that was quite large.
Never mind, it's more than that.
17.7 trillion tons.
4 trillion.
But we just established that at least Boros has a power multiplier of at least 200 times. If we use this, we can get an even higher lifting strength. Now it's 23.54 petatons.
Yeah, man. Seems
In
real.
conclusion, I would say that the attack potency of Boros would be as such at planet level. His speed would be 9.24 times the speed of light, and his lifting strength would be 23.54 petatons.
Let him have it, y'all.
Now, if you remember when we were talking about release Boros, we talked about how his power was a 200 times multiplier, but strictly for power. We did this because when we looked at statements about his latent power, they always referred to it as a physical strength, not as a multiplier to all stats. However, with Meteoric Burst, it's actually stated directly that it increases both his speed and his power, beyond his physical limits. So not just that, but it tries to hype it up even
that
bigger.
is the narrator talking to us.
This is even confirmed in a One Punch Man compass, where his kinetic force is overpowering, and his speed of power is beyond the physical limits. Even goes an extra state to say that even Saitama is sort of clobbered. So now, if we go back to the Saitama is sort of clobbered.
The argument's going to be, since I'm not debunking this, I don't have a debunk for it, but I've already debunked it. At the very beginning, we talked about guidebooks. I'm not doing that. This video, we're 30 minutes in. The live stream is an hour and 40 minutes. I got to get this video done.
Each time, we just times the stats by 200. So his attack potency is
Sort of clobbered also means nothing. Sort of. You sort of beat me up. Like, did I beat you up or not? How do I sort of beat you up? The 200 times multiplier, I don't even remember. See, that's the thing. I don't even remember at this point. He has fed us so many calcs and numbers that I have lost track. I don't know. I think he got it from, I don't know, dude. I don't know. I think it has something to do with his generals and Tatsumaki and his ship's strength. Something like that. And like, it was a lot, man. I don't know. I feel like he's making me feel like I'm stupid, but then I have to remember that this is all just a numbers game. The point is to make you feel stupid so that you don't try to debunk it. When I have the time, I will go and rewatch this video without, having to commentate over it, because that requires more brain power than actually watching anything. And if he decides he wants to debate me, if not, that's completely fine. But if he decides he wants to debate me, I'll be definitely ready for this type of stuff.
Now, a large planet. His speed went from 9.24 times the speed of light to now 1,848.36 times.
What?
Times the speed of light. His lifting strength went from 23.54 petatons to.
But yeah, the numbers are arbitrary. These numbers were never actually given in a series. Not to my knowledge. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me.
I'm going to do with Meteoric Burst Boros. His feat's either just scaled for Saitama or some vague part of the ship and not in.
All right, I think I'm trying to get through this video, but it's like I have to pause every 5 minutes because what he's saying is either incorrect, hyperbole, or bias based. Meteoric Boros scales to Saitama.
Correct. So instead, we're going to look at each part of these stats. Attack potency.
Let me sit back down. I'm standing up to stretch my legs.
I'm going to start off with speed, as I feel like that would be the most controversial and probably the most interesting at the same time.
This is going to be the longest video on my channel when I edit
this.
For
Meteoric Burst Boros at over 1,000 times the speed of light, we would see that he's quite similar to that of Garu in his monster form.
Oh, he's not.
He's similar to Garu in his monster form in his fastest calculations.
Oh.
As the lower calculations are actually slower.
Thank God I have my Discord server. Let me see. We have a bunch of calcs. Yeah, I got hiccups like crazy. We got a bunch of calcs in there. Let me see if I can find a better one. He said that's the fastest calc for Garo. I think I have one that's like 4,000. I think I might have one like that. It's there somewhere. I could also be wrong. No, I definitely have a Garo calculator somewhere. Here's one. I'll have to review this one. Also had a calc for the size of the ship, by the way. Forgot about that. Pull that up as well. Yeah. So he was actually relatively correct about that one. I'm gonna pull up a couple sources just because I want to see something. Is that truly the fastest we can get Awakened Garo? I don't think so. I want to see. Oh, this is Cosmic Fear though. We won't touch that. But if you guys want to look here, yeah, those are some Cosmic Fear Garo speed calcs there. If you want to look at the actual calcs themselves, yeah, that's for the actual speed of the attack. In One Punch Man, at least, and this won't apply for every series, attack speed is usually relative to movement, unless stated proven otherwise. It's not like Dragon Ball where it's blatantly different. Where's that at? Let me see. I'm getting, my phone is popular today. I can't find any of the speed calcs. If I find them, I will post them in the comment section of the video when I upload it. I'm gonna let the video play and answer this call.
You may think this is a bit different since Garo has some amazing speed feats, with this be with Flashy Flash or with Platinum S, but we know that Boros should actually scale higher than Monster Garo for speed. We know this because when Boros in Meteoric Burst first shows up, he punches Saitama, and when he does so, Saitama is extremely shocked with Boros' speed.
All right, I'm back, guys. I got a lot of like financial shit going on, so I'm getting a lot of calls trying to get all this stuff together. Yeah. I paused it because he started talking about Saitama being surprised by his speed. I know some people are probably gonna be like, damn, I don't agree with that. I'm actually fine with that. I think that is true. Yeah, you did miss a lot, but don't worry. The stream is gonna be, the VOD for the stream is gonna be posted right after this, and then the edited version, like the video version, will be posted probably tomorrow. Say probably because I'm gonna try to. I have 2 videos I'm working on, including this once it's done. That'll be out tomorrow. But I'm actually fine with Saitama being surprised. Surprise does not equal, you know, you being outscaled. There's nothing wrong with that. For example, when Saitama sneezed away Jupiter, Garo was surprised, but it's not because he's weaker than, you know, a large planetary or arguably dwarf star level attack. It's just because it was unexpected, completely unexpected. Boros up until this point was slow as fuck. He was not 4,000 times faster than light, whatever this guy's saying, 2,000, whatever. I would say at best he was the speed of light. His kick being a little faster if you want to go that route. So I think Saitama being surprised here is actually fine. That does not mean by any measure that he is faster than, fast as Saitama. It's just Saitama has not faced anyone this fast ever up to that point.
When Cosmic Fear Mode Awakened Garo shows up, he punches Saitama just like Boros does, and Saitama is once again shocked by the speed.
Yeah.
Now this is really interesting because you can actually do
Which to me would mean that he is more. So, for example, if you're going off the logic I just listed here,
He punches Saitama, and when he does so, Saitama is extremely shocked with Boros.
if you're going off the logic I listed here, where I said, what the fuck did I say? I'm forgetting what I said, man. I'm losing my mind watching this video. Saitama up to this point did not seem one as fast as Boros. This speed would not be impressive a second time, probably. Probably. Can't confirm that. I don't know. I'm not Saitama. I don't know what his brain does, but probably wouldn't be impressive a second time. Extremely shocked. Yeah, I already know what he's about to do. I know what he's about to do. You all know what he's about to do. He's gonna be like, well, his face here looks more shocked than versus Garo. Like, delete the video. I already know that's what he's gonna do, and you guys know it too. You guys know it too. Am I black? Yes, I am. I am one of the few black power scalers. I think there's like what, 4 of us. Let me stop. There's probably plenty, but there's probably like 3 or 4 that actually aren't on TikTok making biased content about Dragon Ball. And there's like a couple videos on my face on here. And if you're smart enough and want to dig around, you can find my old channel, which has a lot of videos of my face. 6, yeah, 6 is the homie. If I had to pick a content creator to make a video with, I would definitely make a video with 6, but I don't have that clout yet. I think 6 is very, very underrated. But outside of that, I mean, let me stop. Yeah, but for real though, outside of that, the power scaling community is carried by like a bunch of different types of people. Am I your friend? Okay, so to answer that question, am I your friend? Do you think Boros is stronger than Garo? If you say yeah, we're not friends. I'm sorry. Let me stop. I mean, I'm not friends. I'm not anybody's friend in here. No offense to the people in here. There are some people in here right now that I am closer with. Like I play games with some of the people that watch my videos. I'm telling you, if you join the Discord, just pop in there. If y'all want to play games and stuff, I'm chilling all the time when I'm at home. But I'm just rarely ever at home. It depends on what mode Garo's in. Man, let's just say Cosmic Fear Garo versus Meteoric Burst Boros, you know, the one on screen right now. I think Saitama is 4D. Yeah. Yeah. I want to get into that, and I could, but I think I have a Reddit thread where I explained why a long time ago. I would have to find it. Boros loses. All right, we're friends then. We're friends. As long as you understand. It's like that. That's not how I make my friends. If you disagree with me, we can still be friends. I'm just playing. Would I call it a close fight? Not really. Not at all, honestly. So compare the two. So we have, and I'm gonna use all the wink. We have the dominator of the universe. We have the person that could turn the planet to ash, that could destroy stars and multiple planets, who went from planet to planet under the harshest conditions, killing and taking over multiple, I keep saying planets, damn. Versus human turned monster, perfected counteractive martial artist who can replicate every universal energy phenomenon in the universe, copy entire moveset statistics, modes, and power sets, as well as travel through time. They're both impressive, but you had me at copy entire stats, movesets, and power sets. As soon, if you are in the belief that Boros is stronger or close to Garo, what's stopping him from getting stronger? What's stopping him from copying Boros? The end. Fight's over. Garo is probably one of the cheapest anime characters that has come out of recent history. He is a Uno reverse card with your face on it. It's like, no, literally you. Like, no, not no you. No, I am literally you right now. Like, that is literally him. How do you beat that if you're not speed blitzing, which he is not? It was his trump card, meaning that was probably the strongest move he had that he could use against Saitama. Also, he has a stamina. Come on, dude. He also has a stamina limit. Yeah. Y'all gotta let me finish the video. Y'all shotgunning me with questions.
When Cosmic Fear Mode awakens
Let's talk about this.
he punches Saitama just like Boros does, and Saitama is once again shocked by the speed. Now this is really interesting because you can actually do a side-by-side comparison of the two characters.
I can travel through time just like Garo because I predicted this. I told y'all he would say this. You know what? I could argue he's more surprised. His eyebrows are higher up, and Garo is so fast he doesn't even have the time to open his mouth to respond to the speed. Saitama here, the speed was so slow. Bro is casually looking at him. He was able to open his mouth in shock, and he was able to get a question mark out on top of that. He's so shocked here. Not only are the lines faster, I'm waking this out of proportion. We get 2 exclamation points. So he's double surprised, and his eyebrows are higher up. And it's so fast, he can't even open his mouth out of shockness. So no, incorrect. You want to do some weird panel side-by-side analysis? Murata has a whole different art style now. Unironically, you guys want to, here, we can do more. We can do more side-by-sides. I want to show you guys a picture of Bang. Man, move, y'all. Trying to pull up a panel and y'all getting in the way. Move. Where is it? In fact, we can look at a picture of Metal Bat. All right, this is Metal Bat. This is Metal Bat back during chapter 33. He looks quite different. He looks kind of the same, but he looks different, right? Yeah, he's a little more stern looking, a little more serious. Let's go up here. It's around here somewhere, guys. Where's Metal Busy? Where is he? I don't want the panel where he's like super injured because obviously he's gonna look a little different. But I mean, even looking at this, the art style for Metal Bat is just way different. The facial tones and features are a lot softer because I guess he wanted to portray him a little more of a gentle giant type shit, right? I think Bang had the biggest change in art style, whereas he looked way older during the fight versus fucking what's it, Melzigard? Is it? Trying to find the panel. It was when he got knocked into the wall and he came back. Move for these filler chapters. I don't care. He got his shit tossed. Pause. This is not the same Silver Fang we see in the fight versus Garo. So the art style it's not the same either. You can just look at these pictures. Thinner line work.
Now, let's take this a step further. You see,
Right,
when we mentioned Armored Boros at the very start, we mentioned how Saitama could hit Boros so fast and blitz him by so much that he's not even drawn on the manga panel.
Yeah, what else?
Now, interestingly enough, Meteoroid Burst Boros does this to Saitama. Not only is Saitama shocked, but when he then hits Saitama's face, we see a shockwave blast Saitama away, and Saitama is no longer on the panel.
Okay.
You might be wondering, well, how far is this shockwave? Is it just a little bit we see here? The answer is no. We actually have a massive outside shot to see how far it is, and it is a large portion of the ship. Also, just to confirm that Saitama was in fact blitzed this entire shockwave, and not just at the start or something. After the shockwave is done and gone the full distance, Boros then travels the entire shockwave, and we find that Saitama is still reacting to the punch in his face. You can see closely if you zoom in.
Yeah.
Now, before we do the punch on his face, you can see closely if you zoom in. And we find that Saitama is still reacting to the punch on his face. You can see closely if you zoom in.
Reacting like what? He has his head tilted back. Is that what he means? Who cares?
Now,
What does that doesn't quantify to anything?
we need to actually be careful.
We're taking things way too out of proportion.
Calc stacking is when you have multiple calculations.
Who predicted it? 4N. 4N said it. He said this is just, he said this is random calc stacking or something like that. No, he's just calc stacking. And then he has the audacity. Yeah, he said Saitama got blitzed. Faster than he was blitzed by Garo, which neither of them blitzed, by the way. It's just, he just stood still. Saitama genuinely was just like, oh. And that's not to say that these speeds are not impressive. Even Saitama is impressed. When he's fighting Garo, he he comments, he's like, hey, you're actually getting faster. That does not mean, oh, you're catching up with me. That's just like, oh, damn, okay. Usually y'all are some ass, but you are a monster who's actually decently fast. I think it was right around here. Next. Also, we're not even going to talk about how he was able to counter Saitama's punch. Here, Saitama level. He's Saitama level. Look, Saitama can't even hit him. Oh no, he's actually outscaled Saitama. Let me find the page. Hey, you got a little better again. Oh no, that has to mean Garo is Saitama level. Is he complimenting him? Also think this panel is really dope because you can see Garo doing multiple martial arts styles. That shit's so fucking cool. And as usual, Saitama's just blocking them. He just doesn't want to damage his clothes. It's been established that he just doesn't want to damage his clothes. He just blows everything to the max. Yeah, I can tell. And like I said, that would be fine. But just say that. Like, just say I'm going to be doing a little bit of highball in this video. That would have literally... It's crazy how one sentence can change your entire perspective on something. But in terms of this calc stacking stuff, yeah, this whole video was calc stacking, and he's saying...
And you stack them together to get a result. Meaning, you wouldn't be able to use Saitama's previous reaction speed we calculated to be able to use this in the final result.
My boy, you did that all video. You went from Gyurgen's Shoop to Tatsumaki to Boros' ship to Boros in order to get him to have any feats in his armored state, where he has none. He has no feats. But you use Gyurgen's Shoop to somehow scale Boros.
As it would be stacking multiple calculations.
That's calc stacking, brother.
However, what we can do is we can go a little bit lower into a lower basis for what Saitama's reaction should be, something that naturally would occur, and we can use that for the reaction speed of the calculation. For the basis of this calculation, we'll use the fact that Saitama, even while off guard and surprised,
come on, man, speed it up, man,
was able to react to rocks moving at near the speed of light. This would mean that we can assume his reaction time is the speed of light and thus give him a reaction speed of 0.000.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with reaction times with the speed of light for either character at this point.
Of the portion of the ship at 8.5 kilometers. We can then compare that to the entire attack distance, as Murata had simply cropped that image and put Boros' attack over it, to be 6,913.36 meters. Doing so, and using our assumptions we were making a second ago, we can say Boros is at least 6,913.35 times.
And I will never agree with that.
The speed of light.
No, stop.
With this, we can say the speed for Boros has a range from 1,800 times.
That's what I'm saying. It's just, I feel like when we say that, it's just like, oh, well, you're just too stupid to get it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this calc is just, I don't understand it. Well, you're just too dumb. And it's annoying because it's hard to debunk a calc when you have to go back 3 other calcs to figure out how we even got here. Like, that's just not even fair, bro. Like, you win by default because I don't even know what you're talking about anymore. You lost me.
One of the best ways to show consistency for Meteoric Burst Boros' attack potency is to compare him with that of Garu. Now we can compare him to that of Monster Garu, but a best comparison is made with Cosmic Fear Mode Awakening.
He is going to compare Boros to Cosmic Fear Garu.
Cosmic Fear Awakening Garu keeps changing in power. In fact, he keeps changing to the point where I had to give him a new level before he even copied a serious Saitama. I had to do this 3 different times, as you can see. But the details are very hard to see, and it doesn't give much for a comparison. So instead, allow me to make this comparison so that you can visually see it. When making this comparison, we need a baseline to start off with, so let's put Release Boros on this scale with this little tiny measurement. Next, we have Cosmic Fear Mode Awakened Garu and his Nuclear Punch, far greater than that. And then 10 times greater than that, we have when Garu first copied Saitama's normal punch.
How do we know it's 10 times greater? I'm going to assume he confirmed that in his video.
Moving up the scale.
Oh, I know why. He said a long time ago that one-shotting requires you to be 10 times stronger than the person. That's where he got the 10 times multipliers that gave Boros the 200 times. Don't ask me where the 2 times came from. I forgot. So he's saying here the nuclear punch is 10 times weaker than a Saitama's normal punch. Because Saitama's normal punch will one-shot Garo. I get it. I just think it's kind of loose scaling. You're using versus battle wiki standards, so I guess
several times higher than the Garo
sure.
that copied Saitama's normal punch. However, after this, we then get fear mode. However, after, and then 10 times greater than that, we have when Garo first copied Saitama's normal punch. Moving up the scale, what we get is Meteoric Burst Boros next. We see that he is several times higher than the Garo that copied Saitama.
Okay, so this is wrong for thousands of reasons. This version of Boros got one-shotted by a normal punch. How is he 10 times stronger than that? Yeah, it's like, why is it 10 times? Like, why is it 10 times? He did some math between the power between like a bunch of characters who can one-shot. Or no, he did the math between the difference between different tiers. So for example, how much more jewels does a city level opponent have to be than a town level one? It took that times difference, took the median of that, and is using that, or the mean and using that. And the average is 10 times stronger. So a town level person is usually 10 times stronger than, I don't know, a building level person type shit. That's what he's using. Because by versus battle wiki standards, you have to be 10 times stronger than someone to one shot. Basically a tier above them. So if a large planetary person fights a multi-planetary person, they get one-shotted, I guess.
Almost normal punch. However, after this, we then get the Gamma Ray Burst that Garo had. So we see that Boros is between these two versions of Cosmic Fear Mode away from Garo.
Well, at least we agree on that. I was scared he was going to put him above the Gamma Ray Burst. That had me scared. I'll be real. However, I think that he should be even with this Garo at best if you want to wank Boros. Boros got turned into a bloody mist from a normal punch from Saitama while he was in this mode. Garo, with all his power, combined with that of a Saitama normal punch, no.
And then if you go back to the calculations mentioned earlier from the Garo video, you know that when Garo copied Saitama...
So, Brizado, you're actually correct. Versus Battle Wiki says 7.5. This guy, because that wasn't enough for him, had to do that method I mentioned to get a higher number. Yeah, people do that shit. If it doesn't meet their argument, they will find something that makes a higher number. For example, when I was looking for that Garo speed calc that was above 4,000, we're all victims of this nonsense, which is why I'm not going to really hold it against them, but I'm just calling it out because I was asked to do so.
He was already large planet, and he was still large planet when he had the Gamma Ray Burst.
I'm fine with that.
Boros being large planet, and between these two...
What about this one though? I think large planet in his base form of Cosmic Fear Garo is right. The fucking Gamma Ray Burst. No, not large planet. Whatever.
The scaling does actually rely on...
This video is about Boros, not about Garo.
However, as I'm about to show you, Boros can damage Saitama or not. What we can then say is, using that of the One Punch Man compass, we can see that the third form of Boros, Meteoric Burst, is able to sort of clobber Saitama.
Yeah, I sort of beat your ass the other day, guy. Like, sort of. You're not even confident that you did. How am I supposed... You're the narrator. How am I supposed to believe you if you're not confident? I just sort of clobbered you. Like, first of all, who used the word clobbered? Was that a mistranslation? Clobbered. Like, piece cobbler is what I think of when I hear the word clobber. And we've already debunked guidebooks being used. Tatsumaki is universal in the guidebooks.
At least on 3 different occasions, we can see Saitama take damage.
What does this mean by take damage? Where? Rocks? Saitama's made out of stones? The stones are flying out of him?
Important because it means that...
Prove that he's taking damage here. There's no blood. There's no indication. There's no narration. There's no dialogue. Prove it.
The suppressed normal Saitama was surpassed by Meteoric Burst Boros. It wasn't until he comes back from the moon that Saitama is shown even stronger. In fact, if we look at a clip of when Saitama comes back from the moon, instead of getting clobbered, he doesn't even move anymore. He's so much stronger, and then he proceeds to basically one-shot Boros.
That can be easily defended with more headcanon. Since he's using headcanon, I'm going to do the same thing. Saitama simply got more serious when he returned to Earth and used a little bit more power because, you know, he could. Or I could just argue Saitama was preparing to strike him because he was getting tired of this dumbass fight. And at this point, he thought he couldn't breathe in space. So he probably didn't want to get launched back in space. So he was like, okay, let me kill this guy before he throws me into orbit. Like, there's a bunch of different reasonings that are in character for Saitama. And you're taking all the out of character reasons and using them as feats. Saitama took damage. Where? Where's the damage? Where's the dialogue that says that? You don't even have the on-panel dialogue this time. The Boros thought panel, where he's like, he took damage.
Also, just to mention that Saitama in his normal mode has different levels of power.
Yes.
It's stated by Garu after copying Saitama and one-shotting him with the Gamma Ray Burst that he knows that Saitama wasn't going all out. However, much like Boros, who thought that Saitama's power is immeasurable, neither of them would be able to sense the power of serious Saitama. The reason being is serious Saitama is technically considered like a transformation type thing. If you look at the One Punch Man Hero Guidebook, we see that the uttering of serious, it allows Saitama to reach a new dimension of power, which really just means that he's much, much more powerful. But it's trying to explain that it's completely different than his normal state. This would make sense as both Boros and Garu cannot measure the level of serious Saitama, but if they know that Saitama...
Didn't he just say earlier that Boros unlocked the key to damaging Saitama or something? Or like he understood how to damage Saitama?
Holding back, or he's got more power in him, they're just referring to a higher level of normal Saitama. I could keep ranting on about different ways you could prove that Meteoric Burst Boros consistently is at a large planet level. However, instead I'm going to go more into that when I talk about the Collapsing Star Roaring Cannon later on.
I forgot, we haven't even touched that yet.
With that being said, consider this Boros' attack potency, speed, and lifting strength in his Meteoric Burst state. Now to move on to the Collapsing Star Roaring Cannon.
Hey look, no offense. From now on, if y'all want me to react to a video that's 50 minutes long of like just complete wank, you're gonna have to do a donation and send that shit. This video is hurting me physically. Like, I am not only in disagreement with like 97% of what he's saying, and I have to pause to argue it all because it bothers me that much. To be honest, I could just sit here and let the video play, and we could just be like, oh yeah, hey guys, what's he talking about? He's so stupid, right guys? We could do that. But it's just not in me, and it's like 50 minutes of this. I got 10 more minutes. I'm gonna jump around this video and we're gonna see what he's talking about. Come on, man.
When talking about the Collapsing Star Roaring Cannon, we talk about how it was able to obliterate a star, at least according to the One Punch Man
Boros is relative to Garu.
One Punch Man Compass English edition literally says this, and in the Japanese, many people...
So, to those who were like, I never heard about the star level wank, it's right here. To counter Boros' ultimate Collapsing Star Roaring Cannon, which is forming up to obliterate a star, Saitama resorts to a serious punch. Up until now, he won battles with his hallmark One Punch. Now he brings out one of his own killer moves to settle this heroic battle.
Translation would correctly say that he is able to destroy a star. I should address the fact that some people believe the translation to be mistaken or incorrect. The reason being is, in Japanese, the word used for star on its own, as well as the word used for planet, is the same. However, this will not matter for this particular guide. Earlier on in the exact same guidebook, in fact on the same page, talks about how the latent energy of Boros could destroy planets. And if they could translate the difference between planets and star once, they can do it again.
That's actually fair.
Furthermore,
I will
in the
accept that.
English translation, you'll notice it uses the name Collapsing Star Roaring Cannon, where they have to translate the word star. And when they do so correctly. So why wouldn't they be able to translate it later?
That's actually fair. And like I said, I have no problem with the star level wank. That's where it ends though.
Therefore,
and just because Boros is star level does not mean he's stronger than Saitama is also a point I would like to make. Boros can be fucking uni, but it wouldn't change how that fight went. That's the thing that people don't understand. He can be universal, he can be boundless, but in that fight, he stood no chance. It does not scale him to Saitama. It does not downscale Saitama. It upscales Saitama and makes him look weaker as a result.
At least in the One Punch Man Compass, Boros' Collapsing Star Roaring Cannon should be star level. Another thing people try and use to detract from this being star level is using one particular guide where they say that in this...
You're saying it as if it hasn't been repeated thousands of times. It's been repeated in guidebooks, and it's been repeated in shows, manga, that it was planetary. He's acting like, oh, well, there was this one instance that people try to use. Like, don't downplay it. These are big counter arguments that you are going to have to fight against.
See where
he used this guidebook earlier.
Boros uses the Collapsing Star Roaring Cannon, it's only able to destroy the Earth. Or they might use the manga where Boros would say he's going to destroy the surface of the Earth.
Or the anime.
However,
Or the
both
anime.
these are very simple to explain, where if you just look at something like Dragon Ball, for example, when
Here we go, guys. He's going to try to use this, and it doesn't even apply here. I knew it. I already know.
Frieza fought Toppo, he said to Toppo that he could destroy an entire planet. Now, if I was to ask the question, do you think Dragon Ball Super, Full Power, Final Form Frieza is just planetary? The answer would be no.
Okay, so here's the problem. If Frieza said this is enough power to wipe out the surface of the planet upon his first introduction, this is Boros' first introduction. He has no feats outside of this to counter this. You're using a guidebook. What you're using in your example here are feats. We've seen Frieza destroy entire planets. We've seen Frieza threaten multiple planets, and we've seen that Frieza scales above the likes of Prince Vegeta. Not Prince Vegeta, King Vegeta, who could wave away planets, arguably, in a filler. So, here, we can assume that Frieza is holding back. And also, it's a tournament of power, so he can't kill anyone. I almost called him you know what? Yeah, he can't kill anyone, you idiot. You know that. Stop ignoring context. It's annoying. Stop ignoring context. Here, we can excuse the fact that Frieza is clearly not only holding back, but we've seen him use more power. Okay? Let's compare that to Boros. We just met the guy. His greatest feat was kicking Saitama to the moon. That feat was then flipped on him by Saitama by a better feat of jumping back from the moon. So right now, at best, we have a multi-continental being. He then uses his, no, he already uses his full power at this point. He uses his collapsing star roaring cannon, and he says to us, this could wipe the surface of the planet. There are no counter feats to that in the series at all. Nor does he have a reason to be holding back. So no, he's not comparable to Frieza at all. Nice try though. I saw this argument coming, so I already had this counter argument in my head. Why would he hold back here? If he could destroy an entire star, use an entire star's worth of power. You have no reason to preserve the Earth. You have no reason to hold back against Saitama. You said this is your trump card. This is your final move, and after you use it, that's it. Why would he hold back here? Why would he have why would his output be stronger than that of what he's using? Is he going to argue, oh, well, in Dragon Ball, Kamehamehas are universal, but they don't destroy the planet when they're used? That's because they don't want to destroy the planet. Boros here has no reason not to. He's a bad guy.
Frieza's not talking about his full power. He's talking about something he can do, an achievement. And this is what Boros is doing here. He's not saying my full power can destroy that of a planet. He's saying I'm going to destroy the planet. And that slight difference makes these statements irrelevant. He can destroy the planet, therefore he can destroy the planet. It does not detract from the star level statement.
It does.
Whatsoever.
It does, because it counters it. You have 4 sources that are saying, no, he's not star level, my bad. And you're like, well, they said it once. That's like if I say, oh, it is currently 7 p.m. Oh, my bad, it's 7:30. Yeah, I meant to say 7:30. By the way, it's 7:30, not 7. And you're like, oh, no, you said 7 though. You already said that. It's too late. You can't take it back. Like they've already countered it multiple times. You have more proof against it.
Whatsoever. However, even in the guide where they say that Boros can only destroy a planet, we can actually use this.
And also in that guide that he's saying is incorrect, he just got done using things like height measurements and stuff to a T to get like AP and lifting scaling. So now the guide is correct. So it's wrong and then right. Okay.
Guide another way to show that the collapsing star roaring cannon is in fact star.
I'm sorry. I'm not. I know it sounds heated. I'm really not. It's
What's
just
percentage of the serious.
I'm really invested in this shit, man.
When the serious punch and the raw cannon clash, what we see is a shockwave that narratively should represent the difference in power between each other. So if we calculate the difference in the shockwaves, we should calculate the difference in the collapsing star roaring cannon and Saitama's serious punch. Let's do this. Starting off with the area of which Saitama had, we need to know its distance, how far it went, as well as the width at the very end. With such, we get the area to be 2 trillion square meters. Now for Boros, we have to do half of it and then double it because it gets split into 2 halves. Look at the length of the glass we see. The width of it, we get its area for half at 195 billion square meters. And after this, we get the total area as 391 billion square meters. Overall, this means that the collapsing star roaring cannon should be 18.66% the power of Saitama's serious punch. Now, one thing to consider before we make a comparison between the collapsing star roaring cannon and Saitama's serious punch is the serious punch doesn't have a set level of power. In fact, we can just use the example of the Saitama that used the Serious Punch on Elder Centipede, Evil Natural Ocean, and Cosmic Garu would all be at different levels. Like,
Yeah.
you don't see the Serious Punch used against Elder Centipede popping a hole in the sky.
But also, here's one thing I want to bring up, because if I do debate this guy, I know he's going to talk about it. He's going to say, though the reason why Saitama was able to be hurt by Boros is because, you know, they were on a relative level. And I'm going to say, well, how come he was able to eclipse his collapsing star roaring cannon when he came back to Earth? And he'll respond with, it's because he got stronger between that time. Evidence being the final IO. There's a counterpoint to that, my friend. So the IO fight, we are specifically told that Saitama's growth exponentially increased in a way that it never has. Okay? Never has. You'll counter with, well, there's an audio book where Saitama is stated to train and grow every day. And my response will be, okay, prove that that growth is relative to the IO growth, because otherwise you have no numerical value for how strong Saitama got between that time. As such, you have no way of proving that he got strong enough to make any huge difference. The overall meaning of that argument is that you can't argue Saitama is only stronger now, or rather Saitama was damaged before because he was weaker and now he's stronger and that's why he's not damaged. You have to prove that there was some multiplier, some power growth of such a substantial amount that he was able to eclipse Boros by, what is it, an 18.66% degree? No, a 72.33% degree.
Therefore, we need to actually define the level of a Serious Punch that Saitama would use when he hits Boros. How we do this is we simply use that guide, as mentioned a moment ago, talking about Saitama and how his Serious form works. That's only really talking about the Season 1 Saitama and early parts of Season 2, where it actually has the statistics for how powerful they think Saitama should be. Next, from the exact same databook as that of Saitama stats, we'll get the stats for both Tatsumaki and Tank Top Tiger. With this information, we can then start analysing their power. For example, Tank Top Tiger has a power of 4. We'll work out the energy of what that means in just a moment. Tatsumaki's power in the guidebook is stated to be a 9. We know how much energy this would be, and the guidebook even mentions that of the Boros shit, so we know that this energy should be around the multi-continental energy that she overpowered. And of course, we're going to then estimate the power of Saitama at a 15. In regarding how powerful Tank Top Tiger is, we can use just one calculation of Versus Battle Wiki, where they talk about how strong Saitama was as a 12-year-old before he ever started training, for which they had a wall-level amount of energy at 4 million joules. We can then use this to say the equation for each power level within the guidebook. So Saitama at 15 would have a massive amount of energy at solar system level. Now that we have the energy that Saitama should have according to the guidebook, we can then say the collapsing star roaring cannon, as mentioned earlier, was 18.66% of Saitama's Serious Punch, and we get the energy for the collapsing star roaring cannon to still be solar system level. Now this is interesting.
I told y'all he would say that Boros is, I said it. I literally said he's going to get Boros to solar system level. You guys saw when I opened this video, I did not watch any of this. I did not pre-watch this. This is all new to me. I fucking called it. You want to know why? Because I know how wankers and power scalers think. Usually when you hear Dominator of the Universe, it's usually given and fed to you as a solar system level threat because it's more tolerable than them using their true wank of Uni. Boros is not solar system. I do not believe that for a second. Prove it. I have this entire video. I've added 2 hours of content to this 50-minute video. An hour and 20 minutes of content. No, hour and 30 minutes of content to this long ass video. So that means an hour plus has been me debunking this. My debunk is longer than the video. That's how you know something ain't right. My debunk is almost 2 hours longer than the video. And I've just been reacting to this. I paused to answer questions for a couple minutes.
Because this is the same guidebook that called Boros' Raw Cannon Planet level has now allowed it to be solar system level. There is a reason why though. The explanation for why the guidebook has this inconsistency inside of it is because of the way it's written. For example, When we start off looking at the Saitama page, you will actually notice at the very top of it, it has this little thing where it is Genos saying that he disagrees with the Hero Association, and then states his facts about what he thinks Saitama is. In other words, what the Hero Association think is based on how all these characters are written. We know this furthermore because King's got a maxed out stat in every stat point, despite the fact that he actually isn't as strong as the Hero Association think he is.
So the guidebook shouldn't be used except when you use it to prove that the Clashing Star Roaring Cannon is equal to a solar system level attack from Saitama. I don't even think that Serious Punch was solar system level. So there's that too. My brain has 40 different counter arguments to this, so it's really hard for me to talk. So bro used the stats in the guidebooks that are made by the Hero Association, which he's saying we should not take serious. He just used that to prove his point. And now he's saying, well, we probably shouldn't take it seriously when it comes to the Earth level thing, though, because it doesn't go with my argument. You are so biased, man. This is sad.
This is also confirmed at the very front of the data book, where they pretend it's an actual, data book handed out by the Hero Association in
I'm
verse.
sorry. I'm annoyed now.
And this is also furthermore shown with the likes of Fubuki, where she's giving a quote about Blast, and it's just a rumor. It's not an actual statement about what you can do. Things like this, it's just about opinions and how people inverse.
So why do you get to pick what's not inverse talk and what is?
And not actually the level of power these characters are capable of. And because of such, it isn't the most reliable source. So if you do use this, you
used it.
Get Boros to planet, you could get him to solar system. I will not be using it for Boros' power.
Then what was this whole segment?
This would mean that the only guide that actually talks about Boros' power in a literal sense would be the One Punch Man compass, as previously mentioned, which had Boros at star level. This would be the power of the collapsing star roaring cannon, and it is the most consistent based on the scaling.
You just fucking trolled all of us.
Shown in this video. Did you know Boros could have survived Saitama's Serious Punch? After the Serious Punch, we see his corpse still alive, talking to Saitama. And we see earlier that he was able to come from a splat of blood and just an eye, meaning he can definitely regenerate from rotting.
You don't even know your own character. He was out of energy. Once that energy runs out, he's done.
Corpse. The reason why he doesn't regenerate is because of how his regeneration works. His regeneration works by putting his latent energy into his body to accelerate his healing at a superhuman rate. However, if you know the collapsing star roaring cannon, he already put all his power into the blast.
Yeah, so what are you talking about? He could have regenerated. No, he wouldn't have regenerated from shit. Is he trying to say that if he didn't use this, he would have had the energy to regen? Well, yeah, no shit.
The reason why he couldn't regenerate is because he literally put all his energy in the blast and had none left to regenerate with. Otherwise, Boros could actually survive the Serious Punch from Saitama. Let's finish off the video with a quick montage summary of each one of Boros' forms and the collapsing star roaring cannons.
I'm good. I gotta go eat something. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this live stream. This was a doozy, man. This shit. Let me reiterate this. I know I got a little irritated near the end. It's just because I'm really hungry, and I've been sitting here watching this for like 2 hours. Shout out to Christian Kimber. Let me just say this first of all. He's a smaller creator. We all got to start somewhere. We all make, I wouldn't say mistakes. We all have our opinions. He put a lot of work into this video. This is a 50-minute video. You guys will never see that from me unless I have a team of people helping me. No, not me. For example, the Minecraft video I put out took me 8 hours to make, not including the editing and scripting, or not editing, the voice recording and the scripting. But Christian Kimber did do something that I cannot do, and that was making calcs. Whether those calcs were good or bad is up to y'all. But he was able to make some sufficient calcs. There was a lot of calc stalking. There was a lot of liberties taken. And I wish he would have just stated, maybe he did and I missed it, that this video was going to be highball and wank. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's a good video. I just disagree with it. Yeah. Yeah, and there's also that. But I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream here. Hopefully you guys had fun. He said finally it's over. I'm sorry that this was the whole stream. I just really don't have time. It's about to be 8 p.m. here, y'all, and I have not eaten at all today. I gotta go eat something. I gotta get some fuel in my body because tonight I have to get 2 videos done. so that you guys can have something to watch for the week. One is gonna not be a power scaling video. Y'all might not like it, but it's a topic I really wanted to cover, so that'll be coming out tomorrow. And then of course the edited version of this, hopefully I'll have it out tomorrow. This is 2 hours long, so I'm gonna try, man. It shouldn't be too much. I just gotta cut out the parts where I have phone calls and cut out the parts where I went off on tangents with y'all in chat. But yeah, I appreciate everybody for turning out today. If you missed the stream late, you got to turn on post notifications. You can go to my channel right now and do that. So y'all can be here for the next one. I react to whatever videos y'all send. The fuck? Loud ass noise. I react to whatever videos y'all send as long as it's not another 50-minute one. So the Satori video that's 30 minutes, I'm not reacting to that on stream. I'm sorry, y'all. It's just, it's the same. First of all, it's going to be the same shit repeated, and it's too much. But yeah, I will be in the Discord, which is pinned at the top. Join, come talk. I'm telling y'all, it's literally the most, my voice is cracking. See, I gotta go eat. It's the most chill Discord I've ever been in, ever. So yeah, come tap in. We talk about power scaling for all types of series. We post calcs. We have our own threads for you to make your own calcs, post your own calcs, scale your own characters, have your own characters scaled, all types of cool shit. So yeah, tap in. I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow in the upload. Peace out.